The Absalom City Gazetteer. Absalom, having expanded over long millennia, encompasses 11 distinct city districts and a few additional points of interest, including the outlying areas of Shoreline, Westerhold, Copperwood, and Dawnfoot, as well as Starwatch Keep, Pilot Island, the Flotsam Graveyard, Fort Tempest, and of course the Aslanti Keep at the far north end of the city. From north to south, the major district areas are the Wise Quarter, the Petal District, the Ivy District, the Westgate, the Foreign Quarter, the Ascendant Court, the Coins, Eastgate, the Puddles, the Docks, and the Precipice Quarter. Finally, beneath all of this is the perilous Undercity. Let's take a closer look at each of these territories and districts, moving clockwise around the periphery before we get into the city proper. Shoreline. Shoreline, once a modest fishing village, has evolved into a bustling town full of industrious craftspeople. This suburb has a distinctive smell, some might even call it pungent, as its industries include tanneries, fisheries, breweries, and a sizable water-powered paper mill. Despite being situated beyond the city walls, shoreliners proudly view themselves as superior in both living conditions and amenities compared to their puddles-dwelling neighbors who contend with constant flooding. While the majority of Shoreline's inhabitants lead simple, honest lives, a degree of criminal influence has seeped in from the adjacent Puddles district. One local gang called the Warhounders, led by a ruthless man named Nessian, have established as their base of operations a dilapidated siege castle, which they now call the Pyramid of the Dog. The Westerhold. Nestled between the two roads stretching westward from the city, the Westerhold is positioned adjacent to the wall opposite Westgate and the Ivy District. Its origins trace back to an ancient roadside inn established over 2,000 years ago by a dwarf named Drun Deepkeg. A number of dwarven residents can still be found here, who take pride in their connection to the Deepkeg family. Adding to the city's lesser-known dwarven contributions, a network of tunnels lies beneath the city walls. These tunnels are controlled by the Crowsworn, a thieves' guild based in the Ivy District. These tunnels have a discreet entrance within a glass-blowing shop in the Westerhold called Crystal Creations. Additional ancient tunnels interconnect with the city's sewers, networking the Westerhold with various subterranean passages that can be used to navigate to remote parts of the city. Copperwood. Copperwood began as a makeshift camp for laborers engaged in constructing the city during Absalom's earliest centuries. Initially, some residents had simple huts, while others slept directly on the ground or in tents. Regardless of their living conditions, after each demanding day of labor, workers from various backgrounds returned to this communal space for rest. Over time, Copperwood structures evolved into more permanent fixtures, and its population grew substantially. Present-day Copperwood is transformed into a small town, accommodating a significant number of laborers and tradespeople that are employed in the city. Additionally, many domestic servants working in the adjacent Petal District also choose to reside in Copperwood. When visitors come to Absalom from the northeast, the Copperheads, as some from this neighborhood call themselves, actively offer their services as guides or porters to the visitors. Dawnfoot. Located between Starwatch Keep and the Precipice Quarter is the settlement of Dawnfoot, which originated as a camp for Starwatch members who resided outside the city as part of an agreement with the First Guard. Over the years, Dawnfoot transformed into a close-knit community comprising families associated with the various branches of Absalom's military. The town hall, known as the Dawn Castle, is a converted siege castle dating back to the Siege of Prophets of 1298. This sturdy stone keep, adorned with lumber sidings, serves as the venue for town meetings and community gatherings. The most eagerly anticipated gatherings at the Dawn Castle occur when the youth of Dawnfoot collectively graduate from their military training programs and are formally inducted into service. Starwatch Keep. Starwatch Keep was constructed in response to the Siege of the Prophets, and it stands just beyond Absalom's walls, serving as a crucial defensive stronghold. Isolated during times of peace to prevent political entanglements, the keep falls under the command of the Harbour Master's Grange during sieges. It strategically shelters vulnerable elements of the navy and provides a path of retreat if the Flotsam Graveyard is ever breached. In siege time, Starwatch Keep relies on boats for resupply, rather than having goods moved through the vulnerable postern. The inner sections are a maze designed to confuse intruders, housing offices for investigations and secure chambers for evidence storage. Walled docks harbor wave riders, hippocampus-mounted cavalry, and Starwatch boats used for patrol and anti-piracy missions. The community of Dawnfoot, located just north, supports Starwatch Keep and can be evacuated into the keep during attacks. Pilot Island. Situated at the entrance of Absalom Harbor, Pilot Island is a small island that hosts the impressive Absalom Lighthouse. Soaring an astonishing 655 feet high, it claims the title of Absalom's tallest structure, rivaled only by the high watchtower in Eastgate. According to legend, it was constructed by Aradin himself, and so the lighthouse is magically fortified and contains an enduring magical light at its pinnacle. The luminous beacon on a clear day can be seen up to 50 miles away, guiding ships towards the city at the center of the world and facilitating navigation to other ports in the inner sea. Harbour Master Adriel Neprithep, a prominent member of the High Council, can typically be found working in the lighthouse as well. The Flotsam Graveyard. A century after Aradin's first great departure, Absalom faced a prolonged conflict known as the Pirate Siege, which lasted over a century. While this siege claimed numerous lives, it also unwittingly contributed to one of Absalom's crucial defenses, the Flotsam Graveyard. Formed by sunken ships from the many battles fought in Absalom's Bay, this shifting labyrinth of masts and sails now acts as a protective barrier for Absalom's harbor. Over the centuries, additional ships have joined the graveyard, transforming it into a living reef, teeming with coral, shellfish, and marine life. Erosion, tides, and shipworms continually shape the maze, and fragments reaching the city are collected by the Salvagers Guild. To maintain the barrier, derelict and confiscated ships are deliberately scuttled here, while some divers will periodically clear pathways through the densely packed graveyard. Due to the difficult traversal here, it is illegal for ships carrying more than 6 people or 500 pounds of cargo to cross without an escort. Attempting to do so risks forfeiture of the ship and cargo to the Primarch. Instead, ships signal for trained pilots from the Harbour Master's Grange on Pilot Island, who ensure safe navigation through the aquatic maze. The Flotsam Graveyard's underwater spaces host various aquatic creatures, including Azarketi enclaves as well as wild hippocampi. Dangerous denizens such as urchins, sharks, rays, grindylows, and bunyips also inhabit the wreckage. Fort Tempest. Positioned to safeguard Absalom's western flank and hinder the construction of siege towers by enemies, Fort Tempest was expanded from the conquered siege castle of Carnass the Angelbinder, following the Radiant Siege of 1619. Both above and below ground, Fort Tempest sprawls out to a significant size. Its structure features numerous ramps, few windows, and reinforced dwarven stonework on the cliff, which prevented its collapse during the earthquake that affected the nearby Puddles district. Below, chambers were initially created for dwarven engineers from the enclave of Gazetteer, who worked on the fort's foundation. A collapsible tunnel facilitates wilderness access beyond shoreline, enabling flanking maneuvers against invaders. Originally considered a throwaway post, Fort Tempest became a coveted assignment after Lord Oirel of House Uri took command, gaining great renown through his management of the keep. Although Oirel died valiantly in the Fiendflesh Siege of 4717, his legacy has endured through his successor, Sergeant Salif Deepkeg. Reaffirmed as strategically important, Fort Tempest has started to attract more brave soldiers and district guards who are eager to contribute to the city's defenses. The Aslanti Keep. Crafted by the god Aradin himself when the city's foundations were first laid, the Aslanti Keep was built to defend the city. It features radiant crystals of diverse colors embedded throughout its major walls, illuminating its many arches with inner light. Geometric metalwork embellishes most of its surface, showcasing the lost artistry of ancient Aslant. It is heavily walled, and only directly accessible through the outer gate in the Wise Quarter. The Aslanti Keep also houses 12 significant magical defenses, 3 of which, the Little Roof siege platforms, the Night Country's magical augmentations, and the crystal keystones of the outer gate, remain active during sieges. The Varloker, the city's magical guardians, are tasked with maintaining these critical magical safeguards. The knowledge of the remaining defenses, including the secretive Crucible Directive, are not well understood for those outside the higher echelons of the city's military and government. Magical researchers have over the years developed various other defenses to continuously fortify the city from attack, such as the keystones on the outer gate, which allow access to different worlds for resupply or the summoning of allies. However, not all of the keep's secrets have been retained over the millennia, and the true nature of many of the older defenses, their activation and their intended forms, often remain shrouded in mystery as the long-lost relics of forgotten lore. The Wise Quarter. Known for towering institutions like the Arcanarium and the pyramid-like library, the Foray Logos, this district serves as a hub of knowledge and learning. Important locations in the Wise Quarter include Wisdom's Refuge, the municipal hall of the Wise Quarter and the center of the district's local governance. Nomarch Dawkin Tor, first Speaker of the Wise Council, has a strong commitment to the arts and academic learning. He has dedicated himself to establishing the Wise Quarter as the premier hub for institutional education. Other council members, like Jude Tarsham and Kralte Grisham, both tenured docents at the Arcanarium, contribute to the Wise Council by preventing magical tampering in elections and fostering influence within the magical community. In an effort to promote growth, the Wise Council exempts taxes for institutions primarily focused on knowledge preservation or distribution, but a small tax on every student in the district is imposed. Despite this tax, schools continue to expand, ever passing their growing costs onto their student body. The Absalom Menagerie. A large park founded by explorer Rubani Murab, featuring magically controlled climates for captive animals from across Galarian. Each enclosure is secured by a permanent wall of force, ensuring safety without obstructing views. With the elaborate front gates never being locked, citizens can visit the animals at any hour. Managed by High Warden Alina Murab, the park was bequeathed to the public by her ancestor Rubani 3 generations ago, with the stipulation, for no known reason, that no Black Rose family member should be permitted to enter. The menagerie sees itself as having a lofty goal, aiming to expose to urban society the natural wonders of the world, and also dedicating some efforts to conserving endangered species as well. Nonetheless, a small druidic group, led by a protester named Corff, object to the captivity of the creatures here, and can occasionally be found protesting outside its walls. The Absalom Mint. A stone fortress near Ascendant Keep houses the protected machineries that manufacture money for Absalom. In addition to the production of minted bars for large-scale payments, the majority of the Mint's work is dedicated to the production of coinage. The 4 principal coins produced by the Absalom Mint are the copper penny, which features Aridin in profile, the silver weight, which features a dancing badger, the gold measure, which features the Starstone Cathedral, and finally the platinum sphinx, which, as the name suggests, has a sphinx on the face. The reverse side of these coins features the Eye of Aridin. Lord Kirkus of House Damak oversees the creation, tracking, taxation, distribution, and destruction of coins to ensure commerce in Absalom functions smoothly. He also holds a position on the High Council as Absalom's Chancellor of the Exchequer. The East Wing, known as the Office of Taxation, manages weighing and pressing of new currency, as well as the destruction and reuse of old coins. Every circulated coin in the last 3,600 years was created in this building, and secure storages for the special dies used in the coin stamping process. The Mint also houses the Precious Guard, who escort large fund movements and who are experts at tracking down counterfeiters. They are led by Captain Florian Gale. The Arcanarium. Erected by the Archlords of Nex by way of apology for the Spire of Nex siege of 166, this stands as one of the city's largest and most esteemed magical institutions. Its architecture reflects a sense of authority and protection. The school focuses on using magic as a tool for tangible improvements in society, producing graduates who often become artificers, politicians, or contributors to public magical services. The admission process includes an annual open exam where prospective students undergo tests to determine their magical potential. Successful candidates are ranked as apprentices, journeymans, mavens, or the honored arcanascenti. The competition for scholarships, which are granted by tenured docents, is quite fierce. Upon graduation, students undertake apprenticeships with influential organizations, like the Harbour Master's Grange, the Pathfinder Society, or the esteemed Varloker. The Arcanarium occasionally engages in the creation and sale of magic items as well, though this has led to conflict with some of the city's mercantile concerns. Lady Darkana of House Marinani is the Archdene here, with a special expertise in teleportation magic. As discussed in part 1 of my video, she is also vying for the post of Primarch, and is supported by one of the major political blocs. The Black Rose Museum. Renowned for its constant calamities, it has managed to remain fairly popular, thanks in large part to the close relationship the Black Rose family and the museum's curator Nigel Aldane has had with the Pathfinder Society. This allows them to put on regular exhibits, showcasing the Society's finds from across the Inner Sea and beyond. During his tenure as curator, Nigel used an artifact called the Shadow Obelisk to create an extra-dimensional space inside the museum, meaning it is even larger on the inside than it appears on the outside. Additionally, because of its numerous misfortunes over the year, the Black Rose family rely heavily on the Learned Guard, the Wise Quarter's district watch, to protect the museum. In addition to holding large exhibits, the Black Rose family also uses the site to host other significant functions within its halls, such as private galas, auctions, and other such events. More details on the Black Rose family and on Nigel Aldane can be found in my Pathfinder Society video. The Foray Logos. A monumental structure at the center of the Wise Quarter is the Great Library of Absalom, and it has always symbolized the pursuit of knowledge. Built in the archaic style of Aslanti architecture, it features prominent columns, each depicting the 12 guises of Aridin. It is protected by poorly understood but ancient magic. During a recent siege, the columns came to life to defend the library. It is an ancient building, and according to the founding laws of Absalom, the Foray Logos is considered the city's property, with strict regulations on removing any works from its hallowed halls. The Scholar's Law mandates inspection of books entering the city, confiscating unlisted or suspicious ones. Today, the Scrivener's Guild maintains the library, aided in its protection by the Learned Guard and overseen by head librarian Brivet Ney of Irison. The library continues to serve as a vital resource for adventurers, scholars, and historians. Located at the base of the grand stairway leading into the Foray Logos is a collection of buildings that is the headquarters for the Learned Guard, called the Protectorate Anthology. Guard Captain Mendir the Colossus leads the Learned Guard from his office, a towering Ulfin whose nickname comes from his imposing stature. The Conclave Dome. The distinctive marble dome of the Grand Council Hall serves as the primary meeting and workplace of the Grand Council. The conclave chamber serves as the principal debate room for the city's low council. The 49 low councillors occupy stone thrones in alcoves, engaging in debates amid a cacophony of political chatter. The Primarch's High Council sits in higher alcoves above. While some citizens can theoretically attend council sessions with certain passes, it is difficult to secure such, as these often fall into the hands of lobbyists and other wealthy interests. An entryway allows public access during council sessions, but it is heavily guarded, ensuring order and security. The conclave chamber is also surrounded by corridors, providing access to councillors' offices and other meeting spaces across the council hall. The Learned Pig. This notable inn and tavern is the preferred taproom for students studying at the Arcanarium, run by proprietor Clifton Klein. It is a spacious tavern, but filled with a chaotic sprawl of academic paraphernalia, with each of its walls stacked with shelves packed tight with books and scrolls deposited by the tavern's customers over the 4 centuries since it was founded. The tavern's upper floor features a dozen cozy rooms, most often occupied by visiting academics or the foreign families of district students. As such, visitors soon learn the establishment's thin walls do little to block the common room chatter that often trails into the early morning hours, making a good night's sleep a difficult prospect. The Palace of 13 Spires. This compact yet lavish palace comprises 4 wings, each showcasing a distinctive style, a Chelish one, a Taldan one, an Osirian one, and one from Mikhail. Throughout most of the year, this elegant estate is available for rent to visiting merchants, nobles, and the exceptionally wealthy. The Wise Council oversees the palace, often leasing individual towers for extended periods. These rental agreements contribute to the palace's maintenance and generate modest profits. However, during visits by heads of state, residents are promptly displaced to accommodate dignitaries in the lodging suitable for their status. The Grand Council pays a premium for hosting foreign royalty, and the Wise Council channels these funds into various special projects across the district. The Primarch's Residence. Constructed nearly 2 millennia ago during Absalom's period of excess, the Primarch's Residence stands as a testament to the tyrannical rule of Lord Daints of House Ryan, one of the city's most notorious and despotic Primarchs. Dissatisfied with the Primarchal Palace, Lord Daints commissioned a grand edifice, enlisting the expertise of the labor guilds as well as artisans from the nearby dwarf enclave of Galazur. Despite Lord Daints' downfall during the subsequent Conjured Siege, succeeding Primarchs continued to use it, and access to this opulent retreat remains a coveted perk for Absalom's Primarchs. The last known sighting of Lord Gear of Gix, the previously disappeared Primarchs, was of him entering this residence. The doors have since been locked, and the entry is regulated by the Star Watch. Acting Primarch Winsel Starborn refrains from entering or occupying the residence, and a joint expedition involving the Star Watch, the Varloker, and the Pathfinder Society have discovered various secrets and illusory chambers, but no hard evidence yet as to what befell the previous Primarch. Scrivener's Square. Located near the Grand Council Hall in Absalom, this serves as the hub for the city's broadsheet publishers and print operations. At the center of the square stands the Inkwell, a large public fountain bustling with newspaper touts, shoony newsboys, and passionate political partisans discussing the latest news. From the vantage point of the Inkwell, one can witness Absalom's thriving print industry by simply turning around. The historic buildings surrounding the square resonate with the thunderous noise of printing presses producing the latest editions. The Silk Castle. One of the oldest buildings in the district, the Silk Castle showcases Aslanti architecture and houses a beloved shop specializing in silk and paper kites. Run by proprietor Vitar Korisek, the shop offers a variety of intricate and artistically crafted mundane kites and some magical options as well. Visitors can design and build their own kites, learn about the annual Festival of Ribbons, a celebration of beauty and art featuring kite judging, racing, and a battle royale. Naturally, the Silk Castle is an important gathering place for members of the Kite-Flying Sword and String League. Serious customers may engage proprietor Vitar's magical talents as well as his mundane ones, such as when downrigger Cognate commissioned a number of kite golems, capable of flying, latching onto buildings, and taking off again all on their own. Additionally, Vitar famously collaborated with the Pathfinder Society to invent a spell that transforms enchanted letters into origami birds, providing a more sanitary alternative to animal messengers. The Temple of Sivana is a fairly small place of worship dedicated to the goddess of mysteries, illusions, and reflections. Sivana is described in more detail in my Lesser Gods Part 2 video. The exterior of the temple displays smooth stone walls and a domed roof, but its colors and patterns undergo subtle changes throughout the day, causing it to completely transform its appearance on a weekly basis. Frequent visitors try to track these changes over time, and longtime worshippers claim that the temple's broader aesthetic and architecture have also evolved slowly over time as well. The Absalom Academy of Law. This globally renowned institution is the premier place to study civics and law in Absalom, attracting students from distant lands. The Academy of Law specializes naturally in the study of Absalom's laws, but it also offers courses that provide overviews of the various legal systems that can be found across the Inner Sea and beyond as well. The Avatectura Museum. This museum's proprietor and manager is none other than the district's nomarch and head council speaker Dakan Tor. This ancient museum of his is celebrated for its populist perspective, housing historical archives that span Absalom's oldest eras. The Daltus Academy. The Daltus Academy is another university in the Wise Quarter, but this one has always catered to wealthy foreign students who pay substantially more than local students. It has now become infamous for its wealthy and entitled student body, many of whom frequently get involved in indignant brawls throughout the district and contribute to the Wise Quarter's general tumult. The Gallery Russa. The Gallery Russa is a prestigious art gallery, particularly well known for the more provocative nature of its exhibitions. It regularly displays controversial and scandalous subject matters in its featured exhibits. The Salar Estate. Dremdet Salar's opulent residence, surrounded by a tall wrought-iron gate and guarded ring wall, stands as a symbol of wealth and authority. Dremdet Salar is the Grand Ambassador from Osirian. Dating back to the era of the Blue Lords and the Cult of the Hawk, his position reflects the historical ties between Absalom and the nations of Osirian, Qadira, and Taldor. All three of these nations have permanent seats on the Low Council reserved for their ambassadors. Despite abstaining from most votes, Salar remains popular among the public thanks to his affable demeanor and bureaucratic skills. Salar also actively supports the Pathfinder Society, facilitating missions and political maneuvering to grant Society agents access to Assyrian's ancient ruins and archives. With past diplomatic service in Thuvia, he maintains crucial connections and friendships with that nation as well. A man of stature, Salar adorns himself in Osirian fashion, with gold-embroidered silk robes and lavish jewelry. He shares his residence in the Wise Quarter with his Chelish wife, Lady Anila of Westcrown, whom he met while she was on diplomatic service of her own in Osirian before his posting to Absalom. The Withrun House. The Withrun House is a business academy, and as a center of learning it qualifies for many of the tax breaks and perks associated with building such an institution in the Wise Quarter. In truth, however, the Withrun House functions more like a religious institution of sorts, as it was constructed by Druman Calistocrats and adheres strictly to Druma's calistocratic cult principles. Withrun House has helped grow the influence of the calistocracy in Absalom, and has attracted pupils from among the city's elite by promising economic prowess. They remain taciturn about their teaching methods, though, and many parents are unaware that their children are being indoctrinated into the white cult as they attend this school of learning. The Petal District. The Petal District is the wealthiest part of one of the richest cities on Golarion. The aristocrats who dwell on Aradan's Hill in the northeastern corner of Absalom are as far above your typical well-to-do trademaster or border count as those wealthy merchants are above beggars squatting in the street. From their Petal District palaces, Absalom's rich and powerful control the fates of thousands. The Hothouse. This glass structure serves dual purpose. Its primary function is that it houses the Conclave of Flowers, the local district council of the Petal District. But it also serves as a greenhouse and is a conservatory for exotic plants. Despite being quite beautiful, the interior is uncomfortably warm and stifling. The severe Lord Urkon of House Ormuz is the nomarch and first chair of the Petal District Council, though he prefers to be addressed by the Kaleshi title of Satrap. Urkon does not have the youthful vigor of his brother, rumored to not be aging thanks to a draft of the Sun Orchid elixir. Society rags decry the substantial fall-off in Lord Urkon's once good looks over the last decade, which seems to have put a half-century of age on his deep-lined face. Indeed, the still unmarried Lord Urkon has begun to despair that he will always be alone, no matter how wealthy he and his family might be. The Uncommon Estate. The renowned Osirian villa of House Uncommon is celebrated for its lush gardens and lively parties, which are held amid its picturesque landscapes. The estate's extensive gardens, adorned with Osirian-style fountains and pools, can't help but enchant visitors. Unbeknownst to the cheerful attendees of these galas, however, beneath the villa lies the domain of Mother Jackal, an ancient ghoul. The sub-basements here have been transformed into her abode, featuring temple caverns dedicated to her dark patron, Yog-Sothoth, ritual spaces for the Eaters of Knowledge cult, and a macabre library with rare tomes. Mother Jackal's sanctum centers around a pitch-black pool guarded by a formless alien creature. Only the elite members of House Uncommon, including House Scion, the Lady Neferpatra, are privy to Mother Jackal's presence and her integral role in the family's success in matters of death and law since their arrival from Osirian. The family's substantial collection of legal documents and rare records are also kept here, protected by Mother Jackal's magical powers. Though their library is extensive, the wealth of knowledge here pales in comparison to that contained in Mother Jackal's own mind, as the ancient ghoul's memories date as far back as the early years of the ancient Osirian Empire. Castle Blackrose. Castle Blackrose is a foreboding black stone structure at the heart of the Petal District, the residence and treasure vault of one of Absalom's most influential noble families. Its fortress-like appearance, with 20-foot walls, crenellated towers, and an imposing drawbridge gate, reflect its dual purpose. Home to the Blackrose family and repository of their vast fortune, mainly comprised of priceless historical artifacts. While the Blackrose Museum in the Wise Quarter showcases some family relics, the majority of the collection, including never-before-seen treasures, is reserved for family members and esteemed guests. Lady Hamaria Blackrose oversees house operations from this castle, frequently enlisting adventurers to address issues beyond the capabilities of the family's extensive network. The College of Mysteries, sometimes overshadowed by the Arcanarium in the Wise Quarter, is actually Absalom's oldest magical institution, tracing its origins to the House of Secrets established by early pilgrims to the Isle of Kortos. Originally an esoteric confederacy rather than a school, the organization evolved into a formal educational institution, the College of Mysteries, under the governance of the Assembly of Enigmas. The college, characterized by its distinctive dome called the Lens, offers formal magical education primarily to the elite of Absalom. Tuition is exorbitant here. Instructors, known as curators, sign loyalty oaths and are often former students, which has led to critiques of insularity among the college. Courses at the College of Mysteries are offered at 4 stages of mastery. Completing a stage earns the student titles such as Shadow, Charade, Labyrinth, and after completing the 4th and final stage, students become Grand Masters, titled Enigmas, qualifying for potential admission into the Assembly of Enigmas. Additionally, those achieving Enigma status can also wear the Irizoko, a complex facial arcane mark that identifies members of the Enigma Assembly. The Court of Black Paper. The public temple of Norgorber in Absalom, in his guise as the Reaper of Reputation, is a grim, ascetic place, lacking icons and statues. Here, devotees pray for secrecy and revelation. Interestingly, the temple also houses a respected law school and legal office, with priest advocates frequently training as lawyers as well as for the priesthood. Those in the know are aware deeper underground locations here can be accessed through an ink-black stone stairwell in the main hall, if one has the secret password. The Damak Palace. When he was but a young heir in the wealthy House Damak, Lord Kirkus once traveled to various inner-sea cities for business education. A visit to the Chelish port of Corrington left a lasting impact on him, when he witnessed brutalities committed during a pirate raid that shattered his idealistic view and haunted him ever after with terrible nightmares. Now older, Lord Kirkus has come into the position of House Scion as a grim and cynical figure, convinced of mankind's violent and greedy nature. Despite occasional efforts to make a positive impact, setbacks have reinforced his cynicism and have led to long periods of withdrawal from the public. Yet Lord Kirkus remains a key figure in Absalom's aristocracy, leading its wealthiest house. Known for financial acumen, he serves as Absalom's Chancellor of the Exchequer, Master of the Mint, and holds a seat on the Grand Council. Supporting the Optimates, he seeks stability, and feels that Lord Avid is the steady hand the city needs amid such turbulence. Lord Kirkus's familial connections run deep across Absalom as well. Kirkus is the brother-in-law of Lord Avid of House Arnson, and is related to Lord Yamthar of House Ormuz. He is often seen with Lady Diriana of House Avenstar, and he is known to verbally spar with Lady Hamaria of House Blackrose, their joking rivalry leading others to quip that they might be the best of frenemies. The Erastil Club. The largest and most prestigious hunting lodge in Absalom was founded by an Erastilian priest. Though it technically operates as a secular organization, with ascending privileges based on confirmed kills, it nevertheless also contains a large shrine to the Stagfather. The club's board, drawn from enthusiastic hunters among the city's high society, also engage in charity and animal conservation through the club, which in turn also funds the construction of true temples of Erastil throughout the Starstone Isle territory. Fiddlemorn Manor. Lord Oved Blackrose's picturesque estate was initially a musical conservatory, and it contains a well-maintained grounds featuring gardens, kennels, and stables. Oved is Lady Hamaria's nephew, born to her sister Sarnia when she was only 16. Later, when Sarnia was handed over to the Onyx Alliance of Shadow Absalom, Hamaria took in her nephew, though he never truly fit in with the rest of the family. Lord Oved spends a great deal of time outside the city, whether attending to affairs in his villa in Casimir, where he spends months at a time overseeing various Blackrose family interests in Taldor, or on his ranch estate in the Swordlands, where agricultural concerns keep him busy in the summer and early fall. Fiddlemorn Manor remains uninhabited during Lord Oved's frequent business travels, so family members sometimes use it for social functions and gatherings. The Lantern Lodge. Founded by venture captain Amara Lee, the Absalom Lantern Lodge is the inner sea branch of the Pathfinder Society's growing concern in Tianxia. Although this site was initially focused on Pathfinder business, it has since become the center for advocating for Tian causes in Absalom and across the greater inner sea region. The lodge provides support and aid to Tian immigrants who have made it all the way to the inner sea, providing various services and acting as a cultural oasis. As Tianxia is a vast continent reflecting many different peoples, conflicts have also naturally been known to arise among the various expatriates staying here. Magpie Manor. An ornate establishment blending social club and retirement home, here retired performers known as domos grow old together, but also organize parties and offer visitors opportunities to see rare and potentially final performances. Domos receive a share of profits when they host events, and patrons pay a significant sum for the privilege of visiting such a show. The Marilla Palace and the Tally Wall. In Absalom, it is said that the smart thief is one who can avoid three places: prison, hell, and the Marilla Palace. A beautiful estate with elegant gardens, exquisite paintings, and sumptuous furniture, the ancestral home of House Marilla is a death trap to the unwary. Every member of House Marilla is skilled in a dozen ways of killing. Folant the Ferret Marilla, who is also captain of the Lotus Guard, is a member of the house, and also keeps the area scrupulously well patrolled. The fact that Folant is a werewolf is a poorly kept secret, but he is a paragon of self-control, and rarely unshackles the animal inside him. Despite all of this, daring thieves still make the attempt, perhaps tempted by the very danger itself. The palace's outer wall is now called the Tally Wall, as a graffiti tally of dead thieves foolish enough to try have started to adorn it. These attempts are fewer and fewer in number each year, and the Tally Wall now hosts a small shrine to Pharasma at the site of the Tally, with crude statues and flowers. A small collection run by House Marilla pays for a Pharasman priest to perform ceremonies here whenever a new bouquet of flowers is set to remember a foolish thief. If he is not out conducting business, Lord Kaledo Marilla can naturally be found at the Marilla Palace, as can other prominent members of the Marilla House, Lady Anasendra, Lord Donavar, and Lord Wartos. Lord Kaledo is an elderly man who tends to be formally dressed, leaning on a cane, his white hair like a lion's mane around him. He is an ill-tempered, pugnacious codger who has been playing Absalom's Shadow War for so long that he can do it in his sleep. Despite his age, as a star graduate of the Guild of Wonders, Lord Kaledo still knows 11 ways to kill someone with his cane alone. Still, his age is catching up with him, and he must soon announce a successor. Most members of the house consider his niece Anasendra the Lord's personal favorite among the potential successors, as she's been the recipient of what little trust or emotional warmth the old man reluctantly shares, though some feel she is too violent and self-centered to be effective in this position. Others look to her brother Donavar instead. Lord Donavar plays politics better than Anasendra, and keeps a highly public profile, representing his rich and powerful family at social events, making ostentatious appearances at Ivy District theater openings, and even penning a regular column in the Mother's Message newspaper. Finally, there is the third brother, the keen-minded Wartos, who manages the financial affairs of the family. The jittery, undeniably brilliant man controls all aspects of the business side of the Guild of Wonders, from taking the proper percentage off the top, to setting the price for assassinations, to keeping track of profits tied to the family's extensive network of fences. Palace Ormuz. Pudgy and bespectacled, Lord Yamthar Ormuz carries himself with good cheer and enthusiasm, though his friendly nature conceals a great deal of political cunning and a tendency to dispose of threats with extreme thoroughness. Lord Yamthar is not aged in more than 20 years, and now looks more like the son of his brothers and sisters than their sibling. Most assume this is the result of his homeland's famous sun orchid elixir, but Yamthar refuses to talk about it. This palace is not just a personal home for House Ormuz, it is a sprawling complex known for intellectual salons and workshops all funded by Lord Yamthar. The south wing houses laboratories for alchemists and smithies for engineers, focusing on Lord Yamthar's more mechanical hobbies. His largest current project can be found in a great hall between the workshops, and it involves reactivating an ancient Jiskin war machine. The Silken Court. Under the management of Lady Diriana of House Avenstar, the Silken Court is a renowned and luxurious brothel. It also doubles as a temple dedicated to the goddess Callistria, and it features large stained-glass windows depicting the savored Sting herself. This is a members-only enterprise, and admittance requires escort from a member or a letter of personal permission from Lady Diriana herself. Exceptions are made for members of the Callistrian clergy from other parts of the Inner Sea. Diriana's own story is fascinating. Once slated for a life of slavery, she was rescued by a Callistrian priestess named Sariel Avizardin. With only minimal assistance from her mentor Sariel, Diriana rose to become the High Hetera and leader of Callistria's worshippers in Absalom. She then parlayed that position into high rank in both House Avenstar and the Courtesans Guild, eventually rising to House Scion and Guild Mistress respectively. Today no one knows more of Absalom's secrets than Diriana. When not at home or attending to the Courtesan Guild or Callistrian temple matters, she is often seen in the Ivy District, attending the latest symphony or opera on the arm of one of Absalom's highest worthies. Diriana picks and chooses her favorites to suit herself, and her particular favorite these days for his grave courtesy is Lord Kirkis of House Damac, despite their frequent political disagreements. The Spiral Cross Cemetery. The most esteemed graveyard in Absalom dates back to the city's early years. The resting place of nomarchs, high priests, and numerous nobles, it features mausoleums of varying sizes associated with the noble houses. From the Ardenites' Grand Memorial Hall to the Scrivener's Guild modest sepulchre, the cemetery's labyrinthine layout, filled with crypts, provides an ideal setting for discreet meetings or private rumination. While Spiral Cross Cemetery is the subject of ghost stories and undead rumors, the combined efforts of the Pharasmins and the presence of Mother Jackal at the nearby Uncommon estate ensure that actually very few undead linger here. The statue of Primarch Harvey. The statue of the late Primarch Harvey, a hero of the Red Siege, stands as a famous yet controversial monument in Absalom. Despite its widespread recognition, the statue has been criticized for its awkward portrayal of the famous knight, with the Primarch appearing constipated rather than valorous atop his steed. Debates within the Conclave of Flowers revolve around whether to remove or relocate the statue, and if they do so, what should replace it. The Optimates proposed a statue of Lord Gear and his comrades. The Citizens' League suggest a monument to Absalom's siege soldiers, while the new Absalom faction aims to sway the Vault of Abadar with a statue dedicated to the god of cities. The outcome would hold considerable political significance for the Conclave, as the winning proposal would become a visible symbol of power in the Petal District. The Uri Manor Museum. Once a significant player in the Shadow War, House Uri suffered a mysterious tragedy in 4673. A visitor's arrival coincided with the sudden death of every inhabitant in the manor, turning it into one of Absalom's most enduring unsolved mysteries. House Uri, unable to recover, transformed the manor into a museum. Visitors explore war trophies, remaining artworks, and murder sites. Wax mannequins in the wine cellar depict the speculated events, and guides share popular theories about the stranger's identity. Lady Veridel, the surviving scion of House Uri, was away during the murders, and refuses to stay at Uri Manor, but also declines offers to sell the building, maintaining a mysterious silence about her reasons. Crescent Manor. This luxurious villa has remained vacant for several years, but was previously the home of Grandmaster Torch, a figure discussed in my Pathfinder Society faction guide, and a founding member of Society's former Shadow Lodge faction alongside Ayando Klein. Torch ultimately betrayed Ayando and the Society and went into hiding. No one has been able to buy his manor house since his disappearance, however, and it remains held in trust by his legal representatives. Recent sightings of lights in the upper story windows, however, have fueled speculation about Torch's possible imminent return to the city. Hillview Station. This opulent courthouse serves as both the local district courthouse and the headquarters of the local chapter of the City Guard. The Petal District Guard are referred to as the Lotus Guard, and they are commanded by Captain Folant Marilla, whom I already discussed in my Marilla Palace section. Hillview Station hosts many of Absalom's high-profile trials and features a large public gallery on cascading balconies for observers. It also includes a subterranean jailhouse with cells that would be considered luxurious by the standards of most other city districts. Madinani Manor. Protected by a polished stone wall, Lady Darkana of House Madinani's three-story mansion features extensive gardens containing both beautiful plant work and elaborate water features. Lady Darkana, the second spell lord of Absalom, is also the dean of the Arcanarium. She was always politically motivated. Prior to current events, she had engaged in a prolonged feud with Harbour Master Hugin, when Darkana had sought to break the docks trade monopoly. She established teleportation circles linking other major cities to the Arcanarium, thus evading harbour fees and boosting trade. When Hugin's ship sank, many blamed Darkana because of their long-standing feud. Though no legal repercussions followed, it earned her enemies, especially in Hugin's former house. Former ally Lady Adriel Neprethep, for example, has turned into a formidable foe for her. Despite setbacks, she has increased her involvement in politics, and now bids for the lofty position of Primarch. Aligned with the new Absalom political bloc, she has strategically peeled allies away from her rivals for Primarch, making promises to House Marilla and supporting the Pathfinder Society. Darkana's quick mind and arcane mastery, coupled with her talent for subtlety, has positioned her as a potent force in Absalom's intricate power dynamics. The Ivy District. Known for its flourishing trees and elegant homes, it serves as the city's old arts district. The Ivy District features theaters, opera houses, and bardic colleges, as well as artisans and crafters who labor on special, custom, or magical work. The Chamber Grove. Formerly a theater, the converted building now serves as the municipal headquarters of the Ivy District Council. The nomarch and first chair of the council is Alan Always, a handsome and magnetic half-elf bard, who is also the guild leader of the Street Performers and Actors Guild. Of particular concern to the council is the district's growing counterculture movement, especially the Brattle Bunch, a Leshy street gang, particularly interested in disrupting the plans of Alan Always and the Street Performers and Actors Guild, covering playhouses in moss graffiti and hosting performances by non-members on temporary stages that vanish by the time the watch arrives. Yet in spite of opposition, Alan's star continues to rise. He is both nomarch and commands the quarter's most influential guild. Furthermore, he stands among the most celebrated stars of the stage. 10 years ago now, he orchestrated the fall of District Watch Captain Zara Papoul, and since then he has grown ever more ambitious, his eyes increasingly wandering beyond the Ivy District. Alicia's Tea House. A tea house, restaurant, and art gallery in Absalom's Ivy District, Alicia's boasts elven architectural beauty, offering a sumptuous retreat steeped in elven culture. It is owned by Alicia of House Avenstar, an elven sorceress of refined taste. Every few years, Alicia leaves Absalom for an extended period to visit the court of Queen Talandia Dasrel of Keonin, and she always comes back laden with the latest news, fashion, and foods. Alicia's tea house welcomes all patrons, so long as they are tolerant and behave themselves, but both she and her staff display a special grace and deference towards their elven clientele, which some non-elves find a bit grating. She and her staff are also quick to usher away those who come to simply gawk at the gorgeous interiors, or smell the fine foods that they cannot afford. The Arbor Ward. The Arbor Ward of the Ivy District is a neighborhood known for its exceptional restaurants, featuring the likes of the Sangha Bistro, an upscale Chelish restaurant with limited seating, as well as the diverse street food vendors of the Verdun Road. These vendors offer dumplings, grilled oysters, crepes, and more to artists and wealthy patrons alike. The Bloom Cabaret. This chic cafe in the Briarfine Ward hosts an exclusive club known as the Order of Good Standing, or simply the Order, founded by Dame Theresia Cower about 60 years ago. The Order of Good Standing often hosts satirical plays, and among its esteemed exclusive members are members of the local district council, including councillors Ninian Gallego and Varvara Amadei. Ninian in particular loves being a member of the Secret Order. Over the years, as he has witnessed more and more of the strange gatherings and unusual events that take place in the upper floors of the Bloom Cabaret, he has begun to fancy himself a purveyor of important secrets. Although this is more of a point of personal pride than a general reputation, it is true that his personal journal was stolen recently, and he's in a bit of a fluster about where it might have ended up. Varvara, a half-elf counselor, is steeped in both the mystical traditions of the Kalajay elves and the Varisian tradition of the Harrow from her human half. She shares occult secrets with other members of the Order, but also uses her connections in the Order and her powers to secure her own permanence in the Chamber Grove, and to ensure that council resolutions are in better alignment with her own plans for the district. Absalom Chamber Orchestra concert pianist, the sylph bard Veracus Strange, is also a member of the Order, and has served as the Bloom Cabaret's musical director as well. Other prominent order members include the Grand Alchemist of Absalom's perfumers conglomerate, Arnok Xanthus, popular horror novelist Ethelred Navarre, and in-demand tailor Ambrose Black, as well as celebrity painter Endrick Archerus, who recently came under fire due to accusations of plagiarism. Crystal Creations. A seemingly innocent glass-blowing shop in the Ivy League is actually the secret base of operations of the Crowsworn Thieves Guild. The Crowsworn is actually a member guild of the much more extensive Verissian crime network known as the Zarni families. This particular faction of the Zarni was led by Garl Karela, a figure I discuss in more detail in my Pathfinder Society faction guide, who had to go into hiding with the help of the Society to survive Zarni reprisal for his attempted coup of the leadership. As a den for thieves and smugglers, the shop's basement naturally links to tunnels built by dwarves 2,000 years ago, allowing them to access all parts of the city. Embray's Armory. This is Engleton Embray's renowned weaponsmith and armory in the Ivy District. The middle-aged dwarf sits on the Ivy District Council, co-leads the Union of Carpenters, Stonemasons, and Metalworkers Guild, alongside his close friend and ally Hans the Northman, and holds a guild seat on the Low Council as well, yet still manages to find time to run the armory. While crafting top-tier weapons, Embry focuses on training skilled apprentices to carry on his legacy. The shop caters to gladiators, mercenaries, and adventurers seeking his iconic status symbol masterpieces. The Flower Street Market. This is a bustling market in the Ivy District, known for its diverse offerings: fresh produce, flowers, unique furniture, and various entertainers. The Brotherhood of Abadar patrols this market rather than the Thistle Guard, a testament to the wealth of vendors here and their desire to see thieves turned away and dealt with more harshly. The Gold Serpent. Sendeli Foxglove arrived in the Ivy District about 10 years ago, and quickly gained success by renovating and managing the Golden Serpent restaurant. Her innovative menu, featuring exotic fare brought by adventurers, contributed to the establishment's transition to fashionable hangout. Classically beautiful, the charming Sendeli refuses to discuss her life before arriving in Absalom. Born in Magnamar to a haunted family, she was raised in Corvosa after her parents' death, and moved to Absalom to escape her unpleasant past, keeping the dark secrets from her childhood buried behind her. The Gutless Griffin. A popular tavern in the Ivy District run by Fronzak Shim, known for its lively atmosphere, diverse patrons, and the charismatic proprietor's involvement in district politics. The tavern features a large hearth, a stage for performers, and modest guest accommodations. The big-hearted, boisterous proprietor holds an Ivy District seat on the Low Council, serving his constituents with the same zeal and swagger in the political arena that he employs serving them drinks in his tavern. Those who know him well, however, know that the boisterous exterior hides an inner calm and a cold, calculated ambition, which is perhaps why his every endeavor turns a profit. The House of Healing. Though the Temple of the Shining Star may be the most grandiose and famous of Absalom's temples of Sarenrae, the gnome priestess Zarakella of Ivy District's House of Healing feels no jealousy. She is quick to remind those who work for her that the apparent lack of recognition from the city for the good done by her temple comes hand in hand with the lack of too much oversight. The clerics of the House of Healing are largely left to serve Sarenrae as they wish, by providing healing and shelter to any who ask. Regardless of creed, they've drawn some scorn and backlash, reactions that would doubtless be even greater if they were in the same position as the Temple of the Shining Star. Zarakella has been doubting her own laxness herself of late, after a succubus managed to worm her way into the organization. Zarakella managed to expunge the demonic influence before it caused any lasting damage, but the fact the demon managed to deceive her for so long after posing as one of her worshippers has certainly shaken her resolve. The Ivy District Park. A vast green space filled with diverse flora, including oak groves, weeping willows, cedars, pines, beech trees, and exotic plants. The park is home to a variety of wildlife, with a large pond featuring ducks, geese, fish, and frogs. Small bridges cross the water, connecting the park's manicured paths. The druids from the Ivy District perfumers conglomerate, along with the Leshy population, care for the flora and fauna, ensuring the park remains vibrant throughout the year. Notable features include a 9-foot-tall hedge maze, concealing the intricate works of the park's famous topiary menagerie, as well as the sacred oak grove in the center of the park, which serves as a shrine for the goddess Shaylin. Led by High Priestess Elena Woodsong, the shrine attracts artists, performers, and lovers seeking inspiration, advice, and blessings. The Ivy Playhouse, situated at the heart of the district, is renowned for hosting top-tier productions in Galarian, attracting world-famous artists, and establishing itself as a symbol of international legitimacy. Led by Nomarch Alan Always, the Playhouse serves as the headquarters for Absalom Street Performers and Actors Guild. Alan is actively involved, often featuring in small roles, and showcasing a keen eye for new fashionable artists whose works grace the Playhouse's galleries. The Ravenellian Consulate. The consulate for the new nation of Ravenel, established in 4717 on Flower Street near the park, represents the interests of Gilia Bainalis, the domina of Ravenel and Absalom. Led by Ambassador Vita Olamaxa, a member of the ancient Chelish noble family, the consulate focuses on promoting business and trade relations between Ravenel and Absalom. A close friend of Nomarch Alan Always, Ambassador Olamaxa is an avid supporter of the arts, and has made efforts to bring famous opera singers from Kintargo to Absalom for anticipated performances at the Ivy Playhouse. This initiative, supported by renowned Ravenelian singer and revolutionary Shensen, has been met with enthusiasm by the Ivy District, but has sparked protests from Chelish representatives who view such publicity for the Ravenelian works as a grave insult to House Thrune. Starspine Manor. Starspine Manor, an imposing estate of extravagant proportions surrounded by immaculately landscaped gardens, belongs to the fabulous Lord Sinar Daedalus. He is an accomplished arcanist who recently settled in the Ivy District. The manor appeared overnight, inserting itself between two other houses, a demonstration perhaps of Sinar's formidable powers. Daedalus the Magnificent, as he is now often called, first garnered popularity in Absalom through a grand masquerade ball at his manor. Since then, his extravagant events have kept the elite waiting in anticipation with bated breath. Lord Sinar also showcases his magical prowess on various stages in the Ivy District, though he is perhaps most commonly found frequenting various renowned tailors and haberdasheries. With a penchant for gold, he never fails to incorporate this color prominently into his extravagant costumes. Sundown Street. Located on the western side of the district, Sundown Street is home to the Ivy District's three most prolific tailors: Ambrose Black of Ambrosia's, Alamir Kai of the Ready Petal, and Madame Theodore Sign. These elite tailors work out of private studios, catering exclusively to small, prestigious lists of clients. Acquiring their services often involves more than mere coin. Reservations at fashionable restaurants, tickets to anticipated shows, and invitations to private parties are common currencies in securing a spot on their coveted waitlists. Tempest. Situated southeast of the market on Flower Street, Tempest is a posh and exclusive nightclub. Housed in a building that formerly served as a small theater and second-story apartment, the club boasts illusory decor that continually shifts throughout the night. Admission is restricted to a select high-society audience, who indulge in esoteric live art scenes and unconventional performances. The second floor, a former studio of the painter Heinrich Bain, is now the residence of Zosler Vonderen, a rare Absalomi priest of the masochistic Midnight Lord Zon Kuthon. Thistleguard Station. Thistleguard Station, located at the northern edge of the Ivy District, serves as the headquarters of the Ivy District Watch, better known as the Thistleguard. This precinct is responsible for maintaining order in the district, focusing on violent crimes while often overlooking petty offenses to foster a positive relationship with the residents. Tensions arise due to the Watch's leniency on some matters, though, which has put them at odds with the Brotherhood of Abadar, a religious order and private security force that has been hired by some nervous nobles and merchants as an additional level of security and protection while in the Ivy District. The Vault of Abadar. A marvel of unusual architecture, the Vault of Abadar stands as both a place of worship for Abadar's faithful in Absalom and a private bank, with secure, magically protected vaults. Overseen by District Councilwoman Jocelyn Furkier, who also serves as the temple's influential high priestess, the vault faces recent turmoil following the discovery of a body and a significant theft. Suspicions have fallen on various groups, including the Cult of Norgorber and the Aspis Consortium, but so far no real clues have emerged. The Wandering Monster Park. A small independent park maintained by the district's Leshy population, it houses a natural amphitheater and thus also serves as a loophole venue for performances by non-guild performers. Policed by the Brotherhood of Abadar rather than the Thistleguard, the park sits at the center of much of the Ivy District's strong counterculture movement. The White Grotto. One of the most prestigious bard colleges in the Inner Sea region, it occupies a large campus in the Ivy District. Comprising a manor house, an impressive amphitheater, and sprawling dormitories, the college offers education in various branches, including drum, pipe, script, string, and voice. Led by Master of Voice Rovier Ibank, the college operates independently under special jurisdiction, but does pay fees to the Ivy District Council. Dasylane Manor. Lady Miranda Dasylane's extensive estate is adorned with eerie Asmodean statuary, enclosed by a tall wrought-iron fence. Lady Miranda once believed she had lost her son, Jay, in an earthquake in 4968. Jay Dasylane, who was just 11 years old during the earthquake of 4698, found himself trapped in the collapsed Tri-Towers Yard Academy basement. A magic ring sustained him for a decade, until Pathfinder Society agents rescued him. Following the tragedy, Jay became bonded to the phantom of his deceased classmate, Grishan Maldris. Expressing gratitude to his rescuers, Jay, now grown into a distinguished member of the Andoran faction of Eagle Knights, has dedicated a portion of his family fortune to supporting the Pathfinder Society. Notably, he sponsors the renamed Dasslane Academy in Absalom's foreign quarter, providing education and care for the children of Pathfinders, who frequently move on assignments. The District Courthouse. The Ivy District's tiny courthouse hasn't expanded in centuries. As a result, huge crowds gather in the square in front of it during trials, which in turn provides a captive audience to some of the city's most innovative and daring street performers. It sparkles. Gembar Duskyshankle's jewelry workshop and gallery, although popular, has faced criticism due to the proprietor's less-than-stellar reputation. Gembar is the president of the Coalition of Artisans and a guild seat holder on Absalom's Low Council, but he has struggled to live up to his status as a role model for the gnomes of the city. His guild leadership is marred by infighting and double-dealing. A year ago, a vagrant presented him with a stolen ruby, claiming it was from the serpent visage of the Racked Rock. Since gazing into the gem, Gembar has become haunted by an alien presence. Under the influence of this presence, Gembar has altered the Coalition of Artisans' seals with unusual symbols, causing them to appear widespread throughout Absalom, the exact ramifications of which have yet to reveal themselves. The Keonan Embassy. The opulent embassy of the elven nation of Keonan, where rotating ambassadors represent the Viridian Crown's diplomatic interests, is also located in the Ivy District. Rumors swirl of an impending visit from Queen Talandia Dasaril, with some speculators further suggesting that this visit to Absalom may be the first excursion she makes with her likely fiancé and current consort, Zazarel of Nagisa. The Northman's Woodworks Gallery. Famed woodworker Hans the Northman's workshop and gallery is located here, showcasing his exquisite craftsmanship. As mentioned with his friend Engleton Embray, Hans co-manages the powerful union of carpenters, stonemasons, and metalworkers, and also holds a guild seat on the Low Council. Most recently, Hans was commissioned by Gembar Duskyshankle to sketch the visage of the Racked Rock. Since then, he too has experienced haunting dreams of a formless, monstrous presence. Concerned about the impact on his business and artistry, he has sought help from the House of Seven Faces and the High Priestess Lady Selene. Despite her concern, Lady Selene has not identified the source of Hans's terrifying vision. Westgate. Home to well-established non-noble families, Westgate has resisted the recent disorder and revolutionary changes in Absalom. Westgate may not be as wealthy as the Petal and Ivy districts, but despite that, some of Absalom's oldest families dwell here. The traditional and conservative nature of the district has drawn more and more people just coming into their wealth, or as their twilight years set in, and so Westgate has continued to grow. Mithril Hall. Lady Selene of House Damac leads the Western Council, the local district government, as first chair and nomarch from this beautifully maintained palace. Mithril Hall functions not only as the seat of the Western Council, but also as the offices of all the district's officials, administrative clerks, and bureaucrats. The building has a honeycomb design, with all offices opening into small courtyards with central planters or fountains. Connecting halls run between the courtyards, making the facility something of a labyrinth, and it is not uncommon for frustrated visitors to suggest this is intentional. The hall also hosts a very large open-air assembly amphitheater where district town hall meetings can be held. For a fee, this area can also be rented for private functions and celebrations. The entrance to the compound is made up of a reception area where visitors can find refreshments as well as directions to the offices they're looking for. The hall is open during the midday hours, 5 days a week, but opens late and closes early. The Chirurgeon Dispatch. The dispatch in Westgate provides unique healthcare services from most of the city's hospitals. Rather than patients visiting medical facilities, doctors are dispatched to their homes. Equipped with magical communication, the dispatch ensures rapid medical assistance during emergencies. While primarily serving Westgate, the dispatch extends its services citywide and actively seeks skilled healers and teachers for employment. The staff comprises mundane medical professionals as well as alchemists, herbalists, and magical healers, with a focus on emergency life-saving techniques. The Anandari Block, a historical Vudran enclave that traces its roots back to the legendary Vudrani Maharaja Kibin Sald, was established here by the prominent Anandari family. The enclave boasts Vudran-owned homes and businesses. Despite its predominantly Vudrani population, the neighborhood also has become a popular destination for both Absalom residents and tourists seeking to experience the cultural richness of the neighborhood and its fine cuisine. The Father's Forge. Although Torag has many dwarven followers in Absalom, his largest church is the unassuming Father's Forge. Led by the aged cleric Roglan Turgerast, this humble smithy has produced high-quality metalwork for centuries, emphasizing tradition over expansion. Of particular note is the Founder's Wall, which displays lifelike metal busts of past smiths, reflecting the deep-rooted traditions maintained by the workshop's diligent clerics and craftsfolk. The Fierce Stripe. Run by Gnome Chesney of House Uriel, the Fierce Stripe is a shop dedicated to all things badger-related, and the heart of badger mania in Westgate. Badgers are now so popular as pets in Westgate they have replaced dogs and cats in most households. The shop offers various badger breeds, training, grooming services, and special equipment for badger familiars. Westgate's own unique badger breeds, like the Amber Brock and the Tunnel Brach Badger, are in particularly high demand. The Groggy Froggy. Once notorious for its cruel owner Claude Vunker, the Groggy Froggy Tavern underwent a remarkable transformation. Claude's sudden and unexpected petrification, which occurred during a Charge of the Gorgon event with no viable children to inherit the bar, led to cooperative ownership and restoration of the tavern by his staff. Since that time, weekly Clarding contests, where patrons decorate Claude's statue, drew a new, lively crowd to the old tavern. However, most recently the statue has gone missing, stirring a wave of rumors of Claude's potential unpetrification. The Guild of Wonders. The Guild of Wonders is owned by House Marilla, and as previously mentioned, this seeming tourist attraction displaying taxidermy creatures in fact serves as a school for infiltration, espionage, and assassination. The guild operates discreetly, but its true purpose is now a poorly kept secret, kept away from more scrutinous investigation by the Watch thanks largely to House Marilla's extensive political connections. Leadership responsibilities of the guild are divided among Kaledo's potential successors. The loyalty of guild assassins are secured through death pacts, and all agents of the Guild of Wonders are expected to adhere to a strict code of conduct, designed to maintain the delicate balance between the work they must do and Absalom's tolerance. The House of Seven Faces. Absalom's main temple of Desna provides a space for worship and contemplation to her faithful. The temple's unique feature is its facade adorned with 7 faces of mysterious origin. The faces, weathered and eroded, have so far defied identification, but are speculated to represent lost cultures memorialized by the goddess in stone around the temple. Much has been made of the fact that the faces number 7, prompting philosophers to suggest connections to ancient Thassalon's 7 nations, where worship of Desna was known. A symbolic nod to the passage of time in the form of 7 days a week, or even that the faces represent the 7 incarnations of the goddess Sivana, also a popular deity in the city. But the most compelling theory points to it being a reference to Desna's planar realm, the sevenfold cynosure. Lady Selene of House Damac, also known as the Crescent Star, serves as one of the chief priestesses of the House of Seven Faces, in addition to her myriad other duties. The Mettringer Sanitarium. And serving as a residential facility for the mentally ill, this establishment combines traditional medicine, magical healing, and experimental procedures. Run by eccentric administrator Flevid Grumlin, rumors continue to circulate about questionable experiments and horrors within the sanitarium. Despite occasional inspections by the Sally Guard, suspicions persist, with some residents believing in the existence of secret underground laboratories. One panhandler named Cylindra Concilio claims to have escaped from the sanitarium, sharing her story with any who listen. While some dismiss her as delusional, others are intrigued, and a secret patron has offered a gold reward for anyone proving her story. In truth, her words are not without merit, as Flevid's current obsession is a conviction that there exists deep in the brain of all living creatures a hidden organ that regulates the desire to sin, a theory developed from some ancient Thessalonian manuscripts. And Flevid's work is not the worst thing that happens in the sanitarium, as unbeknownst even to Flevid, one of his own guards, a man named Vernus, is pursuing his own sinister agenda within the building's twisting dungeons. The Sallyport. The Sallyport serves as a crucial connection between Absalom and the settlements of southeast Quartos, including Otari, Galazar, and Diobel. Designed to accommodate cavalry charges, it plays a vital role in Absalom's defense and serves as the headquarters for the Sally Guard, Westgate's branch of the City Watch. It also houses tax collectors, Scriveners' Guild inspectors, and military attachés. The gate closes an hour after sunset and reopens at dawn. Protected by drawbridges over a large ditch, the interior allows for mounted maneuverability. The Sallyport also influences the cultural exchange with Westerhold and Shoreline, with dwarven traditions shaping local life and culture. The Sianavel Agency. Cramped tightly between a bakery and a woodworker studio, the Sianavel is an unconventional detective agency that stands out with its eye-catching front window. The cozy office, formerly a tobacconist shop, is managed by the cheerful halfling secretary Chirrup Turley, but it was established by Erdan Sianavel, a former manager of the Foreign Coin Exchange. Despite being quite wealthy from his former endeavors, it's the thrill of the chase that keeps him in business, and he takes on intriguing cases regardless of the client's ability to pay. Cianavel's analytical skills, particularly in paperwork, making him adept at solving cases involving forgery, embezzlement, or counterfeiting. Statue Street. Statue Street is rooted in the cruel tradition of the Charge of the Gorgon, which began in 4008, which involved releasing non-violent criminals into closed-off streets with a Gorgon. Survivors were set free, while others became decorations. Despite its cruelty, some Westgate residents have campaigned to bring back the bull, while others would simply like Statue Street to be properly cleaned up by the Sally Guard, as the street has become a refuge for the destitute, and has faced other challenges like vandalism and flooding. Young, unruly Westgaters in particular have committed a spate of vandalistic crimes in which they have removed and stolen the heads of many of the statues. To Eat the World. Samael Rantore runs an upscale restaurant specializing in culinary spectacle, offering dishes from around the world. Patrons make reservations to request specific ingredients, and Sam cooks the meal publicly for a unique dining experience. Adventurers and hunters are sometimes hired to bring rare and unique ingredients to him, with ethical sourcing emphasized. The restaurant's dramatic decor showcases past demonstrations featuring eclectic items like dried pepper wreaths and stuffed heads of various beasts. The Tomb of the Living. As described in my history section, the Tomb of the Living was a crypt constructed by Lord Hourace of House Aranay to serve as a secret oubliette in Absalom's early independence period, using a special loophole to get around some of Absalom's restrictive founding laws against prisons. Guarded by the elite members of the Sally Guard, the prison maintained secrecy, with the upper floors disguising its true nature as a facility for important officials. Prisoners given minimal sustenance endure isolation and darkness, often leading to insanity. The Westgate Heritage Museum. Standing as a comprehensive repository of Westgate's history, this establishment offers guided tours by district historians. While perceived by some as biased, it is nonetheless well curated and lovingly maintained. The museum's gift shop funds political initiatives, and notably soft cloth dolls of a Gorgon have become a trendy purchase since the ban was placed on the Charge of the Gorgon on Statue Street. The museum restaurant is also well regarded and serves period-specific meals. Competent agents are sometimes sought out to secure historical artifacts and contribute to Westgate prestige. The Windarium is a charming shop founded by Simo of Gear, a brilliant half-orc graduate of the Clockwork Cathedral. Specializing in clockwork devices, toys, and precision parts, the shop gained true success when Simo met Myrtion, a business-minded entrepreneur. Despite Myrtion's lack of clockwork knowledge, the duo's combined skills led to the Windarium's prosperity. However, Simo's promotion to first gear at Aslanti Keep has disrupted their dynamic, forcing Myrtion to manage the shop on his own, but without a love of clockwork, in fact his real passion is raising badgers, some of the shop's old charm is fading, and its previously loyal customers are starting to look elsewhere for clockwork goods. The District Courthouse. Westgate's expansive courthouse consists of 4 wings, each housing trial chambers and offices, surrounded by an ancient reflecting pool. As per tradition, defendants are led to the water's edge before each trial, encouraging contemplation of their fate in the unyielding mirror of nature. Menemes Manor. This vast estate belongs to the influential Menemes family, featuring 3 small pyramids, a sphinx-lined avenue, and a repository of the city's history established over 2 millennia ago. Lord Rogren Menemes, scion of the influential Menemes family of Osirian, commands a 2,000-year-old legacy in Westgate. Menemes Manor houses a vast museum, holding official documents, noble family histories, and legal proceedings dating back to the pirate siege of Absalom. Navigating this extensive archive requires the assistance of a team of sages and scholars trained by Lord Rogren himself. As the Westgate representative on the Grand Council, he strives to guide Absalom towards a future echoing its golden age. Known as the Keeper of Ancient Absalom Lord, Lord Rogren has for some time been engaged in a heated literary feud with rival scholar Doken Tor of the Wise Council. Rogren, who is often more composed than Tor, has dismissed his adversary's work as poorly researched and rife with assumptions. Sirola Manor. Owned by retired Pathfinder Society field agent Venla Sirola and her husband Urmas, who also happens to be the chief physician at the Absalom Church in Dispatch, Sirola Manor is a well-maintained yet not extravagantly expensive residence. Venla Sirola, the battling belle of Westgate, came to prominence 20 years ago as one of Absalom's most successful adventurers. The Pathfinder Society published a hugely popular account of her exploits in the Pathfinder Chronicles, which was swiftly adapted into 2 competing musicals, cementing her spot as one of the city's favorite celebrities and providing enough steady income that she was able to retire from adventuring in her late 40s, with plenty of life left in her, a splendid manor home, and enough gold to buy herself an appointment to the Low Council. The Westgate Bathhouse. The domed Westgate bathhouse, the city's most popular such establishment, welcomes visitors day and night. With a bustling market outside, the ancient structure houses various amenities, including soaking pools, massage chambers, heated meditation shrines, and for a higher fee, a number of private pools as well. These secluded areas often become clandestine meeting spots for both scheming politicians or merchant princes and star-crossed lovers alike. The Foreign Quarter. Attracting residents from all across the world of Galarian, this district hosts immigrants from various regions. Enclaves from Cheliax, Osirian, Andoran, Taldor, Kadira, and Vudra contribute to the district's diverse culture. It also famously houses the Grand Lodge of the Pathfinder Society. The Foreign Quarter Council Hall. The seat of the District Council, High Council Diplomatic Minister Feridun Severus, sponsors several offices here that are held by representatives of foreign governments. Nomarch and First Seat Tormund Ayates also works from the Foreign Quarter Council Hall. This canny merchant and trademaster is addicted to the gladiatorial games in the Aurorium, in which he once took part. The very much retired Ayates is now monumentally obese, and often doesn't feel like climbing the steps to his box in the arena. He rarely travels now without his harem of 8 brawny half-orc warrior women who carry his litter, act as his personal bodyguard, and fight in the arena as his sponsored gladiators. Blackblade's Academy. Run by renowned swordsman Benkal Blackblade, this academy is a successful fighting school in Absalom. Offering combat classes for 5 silver a day, the academy is known for its open-yard classes that serve as both exhibitions and advertisements for the school. Private lessons, especially those with Blackblade himself, are conducted inside. While most students don't reside on the premises, senior students acting as instructors receive room and board. The academy transforms into a small fortress at night, hosting lively celebrations with laughter and song. Despite his frequent late-night revelry, Blackblade himself seems unaffected by his frequent festivities. The Crimson Coin. A lively 2-story tavern known for its bare-knuckle brawls and attracting gamblers, carousers, and gladiators. The establishment features a large fire pit, a serving bar, and an earthen pit for challenging the house champion. For a silver coin, patrons can attempt to last 60 seconds in a brawl. Tormund Ayates, the owner and district council nomarch, can often be found here, actively recruiting young female warriors, particularly favoring half-orcs for his all-female gladiatorial teams. Additionally, the Crimson Coin is the only venue, apart from the Aurorium, where legal gambling on arena matches can take place, thanks to Ayates' dual role as the tavern's proprietor and as district nomarch. The Devil's Garden. The Devil's Garden, formerly known as the Chelish Garden, is a prominent enclave of expatriates from Cheliax within the Foreign Quarter of Absalom. Initially bolstered by exiled nobles and refugees escaping the Chelish Civil War, the neighborhood has grown under House Thrune's reign. Despite the growing number of House Thrune loyalists in this neighborhood, the majority of expatriate Chelish living in Absalom are dissenters living in exile. Even in exile, though, they must remain careful not to challenge House Thrune too overtly, however, because the agents of the thrice-cursed house are ever watchful and quick to settle old scores. The New Thassalon Embassy. The recent emergence of New Thassalon along Versia's northern border has set the stage for a power struggle between Rune Lords Belimarius and Sorshan. Despite the looming threat of civil war, both leaders have recognized the strategic importance of establishing an embassy in the city at the center of the world. Over the first year of collaboration, their agents, along with skilled spellcasters and stone giant artisans, have transformed a mundane manor into the splendid structure it is today. The embassy comprises 3 sections. The central Sihedron Hall, distinguished by a massive 7-pointed star design, is open to the public. Here, New Thassalon's agents delicately address inquiries, focusing on allaying fears of potential Rune Lord-related chaos. However, internal strife has been growing, particularly in the Adaceral wing to the west. Rune Lord Belimarius' agents, under the guidance of Ambassador Firandevar, labor tirelessly to surpass their neighbors' architectural wonders. On the eastern side lies the Eurythnia wing, which seems paradoxically more modest, yet more interesting aesthetically. Led by a simulacrum of Sorshan named Ayande, agents here maintain a small shrine to Nocticula. Their focus is on improving New Thassalon's reputation, and aiding artists persecuted by Absalom's big power players. Though both Belimarius and Sorshan have not publicly visited the embassy, speculation abounds about hidden portals that might pose a threat of invasion by agents from some of the Inner Sea's most potent wizards. The Five-Fire Pavilion. The Five-Fire Pavilion in the Foreign Quarter was founded by goblin trader and explorer Skirma Toadlicker, and serves as a unique goblin embassy. Originally intended to be a refuge for goblin kind and a demonstration of their readiness for a civilized coexistence, the pavilion has achieved some success in that regard. It has attracted goblins, hobgoblins, and other non-human patrons, and hosts goblinoid artwork, celebrations, and delicacies. While the pavilion promotes cross-cultural understanding, challenges have arisen, such as misunderstandings between goblins and human residents, particularly around pet ownership. Internal disputes among goblins, stemming from tribal rivalries, have added further complexities. Despite imperfections, though, Skirma's vision endures, making great stride towards the integration of goblin kind among the other civilized people of the Inner Sea. The Flying Alderman. A discreet inn near the Dock District border serves as a semi-secret safe house for Pathfinder agents. Innkeeper Drock Ovix, a half-orc with a somber demeanor, is a Pathfinder agent himself, and will reveal the glyph of the open road to fellow members. The inn features a magical secret door in the cellar, leading to undercity tunnels known as Walrus's Way and connecting to the Grand Lodge's lowest levels, a closely guarded secret. Pathfinder agents enjoy up to 3 free nights here, while others must pay 2 silver pieces for dinner, a bed, and a breakfast. The Grand Lodge. Discussed in much more detail in my Pathfinder Society video, so I won't repeat myself too much here, the Grand Lodge is the seat of power of the Pathfinder Society, a large walled compound centered around the impressive Skyreach Tower, a soaring white palace that dominates the Foreign Quarter skyline. The Green Star Market. The Green Star Market is an extension of the Little Lirgen and Yemassine neighborhoods, an open-air market specializing in produce, meats, and heritage foods from Yamasa, which once served as the agricultural heart of their combined nation. As discussed in my Abendego Gulf deep dive video, when the Eye of Abendego opened up, these two cultures were destroyed, and much of the Lirgeni and Yamassan diaspora ended up living in exile in Absalom in these impoverished ethnic ghettos, although hard work and support from other groups have really turned around these neighborhoods into more thriving communities, especially Little Lirgen, as the Lirgeni always represented the wealthier of the two communities. Today, Green Star Market's heritage food serves as a complex link to the past. Schisms between these two groups, however, still linger, even centuries after their own civil division ended in countries that no longer exist. Some Lirgeni are keen on cultivating authentic connections to their fading heritage, even though just a few generations ago they dismissed these traditional foods as belonging to lower class or unassimilated Yamassans. The Yamassans themselves are divided between viewing their traditional diet as stigmatized poverty food from their refugee years, elevating it as a symbol of true Yamassan identity, or experimenting with modern fusions of their traditions and others in Absalom. Lizard folk are also frequent visitors to this area, exploring the market's unparalleled selection of salted and fermented fish from the Soddenlands, along with certain live specimens that are transported in water barrels. The House of Shade and Grace. A renowned inn and performance hall in the Foreign Quarter, this serves as a focal point for Absalom's Thuvian community. Constructed with imported desert brick and adorned with intricately carved wooden panels, the establishment offers Thuvian visitors and expatriates the comfort of familiar floral teas, sweet-scented tobacco, and communal meals featuring spiced goat and curried chickpeas over onion-flecked rice. Noteworthy clockwork masterpieces occasionally grace the inn's decorations, often influenced by the actions of Lord Yamthar of the wealthy Thuvian house of Ormuz. The Aurorium. Likely the largest arena in the world, it originated as a practice ground for Aurori's faithful. Commissioned during the Age of Excess, it has evolved into a vast complex featuring vaulted chambers, training grounds, and spectator benches. The central arena, surrounded by 200-foot-tall walls adorned with statues, hosts gladiatorial contests. Below, the faithful of Aurori train in secret, away from public spectacles. The Master of Blades, Ganfin of House Kethlin, has for a long time exploited his position for personal gain, engaging in illicit activities like holding prisoners and the manipulation of matches. Despite suspected corruption, the Aurorium remains popular. Victorious gladiators earn sword-shaped pins, with gold swords being the highest honor. Indeed, the insult platinum sword holder has emerged in the Aurorium to imply someone who boasts or exaggerates, as no such rank exists. The Aurorium maintains long records of all its past fighters, and displays stone busts of honored champions, meaning that a record of the deeds of the champions here will always be perfectly preserved for posterity. Thus, many champions across the Inner Sea seek out the Aurorium, seeing these stone likenesses that decorate the Grand Arena as a kind of immortality. The Lion Square. The oldest and most majestic enclave in the Foreign Quarter traces its foundation to Taldan's escaping the Tarask, with subsequent waves of migration during Taldor's famines, cleansings, and wars. The Great Purge of Sarenrae's faith by Grand Prince Stavian I left a lasting impact, prompting fervent worshippers and religious artifacts to seek refuge in Absalom. Despite Sarenites no longer facing persecution in Taldor, the legacy of the Great Purge persists in the square, and many Sarenite faithful can be found here in the square, where residents exhibit heightened piety and a penchant for expensive charity and philanthropy. The recent war for the crown has also brought new disgruntled nobles to this historic enclave. The School of the North Songwind. This arcane academy, located in the north of the district, features living pillars in the form of wide canopied grey-bark trees, serving as an outpost of the renowned Magambia Academy in Nantambu. Its walls consist of vibrantly colored cloth woven between the trees, adorned with geometric figures inspired by the Mwangi Expanse's flora and fauna. Hollow heads embellish the cloth, creating a wind-powered melody complemented by colored glass chimes symbolizing Nantambu's enlightened gifts. Operating as both an arcane school and an informal embassy, the School of the North Songwind attracts visitors interested in both magical arts and mundane aspects of the Magambia philosophy. Visiting Magambia masters actively spread Old Mage Jatembe's teachings in this unique outdoor setting. The Seal of Kazital. The Seal of Kazital is a shrine named after the disc-like symbol of Mother Jaguar that adorns it. It stands as a recent addition to the Foreign Quarter. Erected in honor of the Arcadian and Matangi goddess associated with community, safety, and liberty, the shrine was built by visitors from Arcadia, who ventured to Absalom after interacting with Chelish colonialists near Sagada. Though the original founders have moved on, the shrine remains tended to by the Free Union, who view the Seal of Kazital as a political rallying point due to the goddess's staunch anti-slavery stance, and by the city's small Matangi orc population who share the faith of the Arcadians. Tiantown. In Tianxia's 7,000-year-long history, marked by stable empires, political upheavals stand out as rare and impactful events. Tiantown, a neighborhood shaped by Tian refugees, witnessed its recent surge with the collapse of Imperial Lunghua a century ago. While the name may oversimplify the diverse ethnicities and cultures present, it is a place where Tian immigrants converge, seeking refuge from rival societies in exchange for a shared trade language and a touch of familiarity. The result is a vibrant melting pot, blending Tian influences with those of the Inner Sea. Among its eclectic residents are Nagas, hobgoblin exiles from Kaoling, and Dokebi goblins. There are also persistent rumors of an imperial dragon who lives in disguise in Tiantown, but if this is the case, they have never revealed themselves since the neighborhood's founding. The Utterhome. The headquarters of the Foreign Quarter District Guard, the Sleepless Suns, exudes a deliberate eclecticism in its design, converted as it was from the estate of an old noble house. Osirian stone reliefs and bronze panels share space with Tian meditation pools, Vudrani sand wheels, and magically preserved Jadwiga ice sculptures. Though the Sleepless Suns are in some ways just another branch of the City Watch, their name was chosen to also symbolize the inclusion of people from across Golarion. The idea was that no matter where daylight fell in the world, members of the Watch from various locations would stand ready to defend the Quarter. For their lofty ambitions, policing the Foreign Quarter is hard, and some citizens humorously refer to them as the Red Eyes, acknowledging the cultural clashes and diverse religious practices that keep the guards patrolling throughout the night. The Wounded Wisp. Also referenced in my Pathfinder Society faction guide, this establishment perfectly embodies the essence of a dive bar. It stands as one of Absalom's most legendary taverns, as it is here that the Pathfinder Society was founded 400 years ago. The Wounded Wisp is often considered the Society's unofficial taproom. From the era of Society founders Dervin Guest and Selmius Foster to the present day, the Wounded Wisp has served as the venue where agents gather to boast about successful expeditions, drown the sorrows of failures, and strategize their upcoming adventures. The District Courthouse. Judges in this court are well versed in the laws of the nations across the Inner Sea. Jurisdictional matters often take center stage in this courtroom due to numerous crimes involving non-residents of Absalom. The Sleepless Suns closely monitor the building, acting as vigilant bailiffs in times of trouble. The Fenworth Gameporium. Specialized in crafting standard and custom decks for the popular game Rumples, this card and game manufacturer also imports, localizes, and produces diversions from across the Inner Sea. Known for their bright purple, many-sided dice, Fenworth's products are a trademark on tabletops throughout the city. The Ascendant Court. Regarded as the heart of Absalom, it houses the Starstone Cathedral, and it is surrounded by numerous shrines and churches that cater to various religions. With so many pilgrims and visitors, the district embraces religious and cultural diversity, but this collision of perspectives is not without its dangers, and the presence of so many sacred places also means that the Ascendant Court is heavily policed, and visitors of all faiths are expected to adhere strictly to Absalom's laws. The Hall of Holies. The municipal hall of the Ascendant Court and the workplace of the Chamber of the Cleistials, the long-standing governing body here, actually precedes the current system of district councils and indeed even the Grand Council. Comprising representatives from 20 religions, it has always addressed the immediate needs of the district near the Starstone Chasm, though it now functions today much as any other district council does. The nomarch, Sindoi of the Thousand Poems of Vudrani Sage, commands respect from both clergy and layperson alike. The chamber organizes various religious events, and they always try to collaborate even though there is friction or even open hostility between some of the faiths represented by the district. The Starstone Cathedral. Rising to dominate the eye at the very center of the Ascendant Court is the Starstone Cathedral. Anticipating the aspirations of pilgrims who might seek to claim the Starstone for themselves, Aradin established the Starstone Cathedral. This magnificent temple, the first structure in Absalom, became a symbol of the city itself. Aradin resided within the edifice before the city's first inhabitants arrived, actively weaving magical architecture to safeguard the Starstone from potential intruders. The Starstone Cathedral stands today atop a precarious pillar of rock at the heart of the Ascendant Court, its towering silhouette serving as an internationally recognized symbol of Absalom. 3 bridges connect the Starstone Cathedral to the streets of the city, each corresponding to successful ascendants, Norgorber, Iomade, and Caden Kalian. These paths lead to the frontages of their grand temples, marking the footsteps of the ascended gods. Unfortunately, the first bridge, once dedicated to Aradin, tended to by his aging clergy, collapsed in the earthquake of 4698. Despite the dangers, each year hundreds of aspirants and thrill-seekers attempt to delve into the legendary dungeon, facing its shifting labyrinth and attempting to lay hands on the Starstone. Surviving even a few chambers is a rare feat, with most intruders becoming hopelessly lost or fleeing altogether. Only a handful have penetrated the secret chamber of the Starstone, where they undergo the test. Those proving their worthiness return to their bodies as immortal divine beings, while others are destroyed, leaving behind ancient skeletons reaching for the gemstone's crystalline surface. The pit surrounding the cathedral is lined with entrances to an elaborate cave system. These catacombs beneath the Ascendant Court were initially dug by Aradin's cult during Absalom's First Age. Originally intended for the burial of Aradin's followers near the Starstone Cathedral, the catacombs expanded into intricate labyrinths over the centuries. Pilgrims used to form candlelit processions through the passages to honor Aradin's early disciples, receiving sacramental coins engraved with the saints' faces. Today, these catacomb coins are highly valued relics, though the genuine ones are rare, and forgeries are circulated by the city's criminal elements to wealthy collectors. The Avenue of the Hopeful. This is a bustling thoroughfare that leads to the Starstone Cathedral. Here, from time to time, brave or foolish aspirants gather to prepare for the test of the Starstone, hoping to ascend to godhood. The marketplaces that surround the avenue sell items and artifacts that revolve around faith, from religious symbols to tailored garments. Before attempting the trial, aspirants may use the street to build up their reputation, attempting to perform small miracles to attract followers. The highest perches, especially ancient stone pillars, are coveted spots for demonstrations. The Gods' Market. Stretching across an expansive plaza southeast of the Starstone Cathedral, the Gods' Market stands as Absalom's oldest continually operating market and one of the world's most ancient in general. A local saying asserts, as long as there are gods, there will always be a Gods' Market. The market offers a variety of goods, from potions, scrolls, and religious trinkets, to the craftsmanship of skilled artisans such as jewelers and engravers. They specialize in both legitimate religious symbols and potentially fraudulent artifacts. For those discreetly inquiring, the market may reveal more dubious or even illegal items, though buyers should be wary of potential scams or deceitful transactions. Also situated along the Starstone Chasm is the Pitview Pub, a gathering spot for cynics and gamblers who enjoy dark humor and wagers on Starstone aspirants. With a prime view of aspiring gods attempting to cross the chasm, the pub cellar features windows cut into the chasm walls, allowing spectators to witness failed attempts. While popular during the tests, the pub's reputation suffers during off times due to poor food, diluted drinks, and cellar infestations. The Azari Palace. Formerly the Temple of St. Solian, this complex stands as a relic to the once dominant Church of Aradin. Following Aradin's death, the church's influence waned, leaving remnants like the Azari Palace scattered across the city. With the absence of active worshippers and the advanced age of House Azari members, the temple faces neglect, lacking funds for proper maintenance and protection. Lord Toyden, the scion of House Azari, represents one of Absalom's oldest noble families. Descended from the original pilgrims, House Azari once held immense wealth and political power, as clerics and patriarchs of the Aradinite faith. Following Aradin's death, both the family and the church suffered a simultaneous collapse, leaving Lord Toyden attempting to navigate a dire situation. Facing mountains of debt and lacking heirs, House Azari is on the brink of extinction. Despite Aradin's demise, his church maintains a small level of political influence in Absalom, with Lord Toyden occasionally leading civic parades, officiating rituals, and holding a seat on the Chamber of Ecclestials. Political activities generate some funds, but they fall short of covering the family's many debts. The Bank of Absalom. The Bank of Absalom is the city's largest money-lending facility. Operating under the religious guidance of the Vault of Abadar in the Ivy District, the bank adheres to Abadar's cult as its formal seat in Absalom. While occasionally offering better rates to the faithful, the bank asserts its commitment to serving followers of all faiths impartially. The archbankers here, seated on lofty thrones within this opulent structure, wield the power to control interest rates, approve loans, issue debt collection orders, and mold trade for nations across the region. Wroclaw of Brevoy, the leading archbanker, holds authority to make final decision on major loans and debt collections. Critics have accused him of financial manipulation, profiteering, and corruption, though Wroclaw has never been indicted or charged on any such accounts. The Black Mask. The Black Mask is a high-end costume shop in Absalom suspected to be a front for the Temple of Norgorber, where his faithful gather in a basement shrine. While Norgorber's faith is not prohibited, the acts committed in his name often involve crimes, prompting close monitoring by the Greycloaks. Periodically, the shop has been known to sell disturbing skin saw costumes linked to gruesome killings in impoverished areas of Absalom, although a connection has never been proven. A young woman named Marley runs the shop, who previously had briefly worked as a costumer in the Ivy Playhouse. She owns it wholly, according to the official records, but it's not clear how she could afford such a valuable piece of real estate in the Ascension District. Those in the know are aware that she is friendly with Jonas Flackfatter, the high priest of the Blackfinger Temple, who helped secure her acquisition of the shop. Even less well known is that the shop's mute clerk, Terrace Vaughn, is also a clerk of Norgorber, who tends to the profane shrine hidden beneath the shop. Blackfinger Temple. The large, legally recognized temple, dedicated to Norgorber in his guise as a god of poisons, serves as a center for alchemical research and learning. The temple openly sells less lethal concoctions, and in some cases has benefited the city with the discovery of powerful antivenoms and restoratives. For these reasons, along with the reasons of long-standing tradition, these creations are tolerated in Absalom, even if some have suspected their curatives have occasionally been used to deliver poisons and other dangerous substances. Blackfinger's faithful largely keep their identities hidden, and their illegal activities are discreetly managed elsewhere, such as from the nearby Black Mask shop. One figure who does not conceal his identity is the High Cleric of Blackfingers, Jonas Flackfatter. A bear of a man, he has skillfully navigated the complex politics of running a large and powerful temple that often straddles the lines of legality even in public. Caden's Hall. The largest temple of Caden-Kalian, renowned as the world's largest continuous festival, is a vast open structure crafted from rough-hewn timbers. This tavern has a history of burning down during exuberant celebrations, and the current 17th iteration faithfully reproduces the original site where Caden-Kalian, now a living god, underwent the test of the Starstone. Initially positioned near a chasm bridge, it has returned to its original location, drawing in freedom fighters, explorers, and those orchestrating daring exploits. High Priestess Saphira manages the temple's day-to-day affairs, while Cleric Dahar oversees its operations. Cadence Hall also functions as a central hub for devising revolutions, planning expeditions, and recruiting adventurers. Individuals committed to combating evil are warmly welcomed, and those in search of companions for perilous exploits frequently converge here. Those who provide outstanding services at the temple may attain honored guest status, entailing benefits like waived donations and on occasion complimentary healing and spellcasting services at Saphira's discretion. The Grand Embassy of Cheliax. The Grand Embassy of Cheliax in Absalom occupies the former Grand Cathedral of Aradin space, which declined after Aradin's death and a devastating earthquake in 4698. Purchased by the Chelish noble houses when the Aradinite clergy needed money, the site now showcases Thrune imperial symbols and the Asmodean motifs, signaling its change in leadership. The embassy includes a residential wing for the Chelish ambassador and diplomats, featuring a discreet entrance known as the Spy's Entrance. Gulv Haverost, current Grand Ambassador to Absalom, was originally from Egorian and served as an influential courtier and diplomat for Cheliax. He married Lady Xansippe of House Tevneg, Absalom's high priestess of Asmodeus, at the behest of Magistrix Corellia Thrune. However, Corellia's mysterious death led to Lord Gulv's recall to Egorian. By order of Magistrix Abigail Thrune II, however, he has been returned to Absalom, as of 5 years ago. Lady Xansippe is the scion of House Tevneg, making Gulv by marriage a member of that prominent house as well. Xansippe appreciates what Gulv's return to Absalom has done to bulwark her already significant political power, but whatever romantic spark might have once existed between the two is now long gone. They maintain their marriage out of convenience, and because it gives each other greater political clout, but it's an open secret that both keep a bevy of additional lovers on the side. The Church of Asmodeus. Established in 4705, it serves as a sanctuary for Asmodeus worshippers who may face challenges in Cheliax. Despite its state religion status in Cheliax, the Asmodean faith is not completely without internal divisions, and Absalom's Church of Asmodeus's open acceptance of non-traditional worshippers like tieflings and halflings has led to conflicts with Cheliax in the past. There are also internal disputes within the faith regarding loyalty to Cheliax versus devotion to Asmodeus. Grand Ambassador Gulf Haverost's return is complicated matters, as he tries to align the temple with the nation's interests, and faces resistance from his independent wife, High Priestess Xansippe, who, among her myriad other responsibilities, is also the High Priestess of the Church of Asmodeus. The Gorum Arax. Although not the largest arena in Absalom, this arena/temple of Gorum stakes a claim as perhaps the most violent. Dedicated to the Lord in Iron, worshippers of Gorum gather here for ritualized combat and sacred blood sport. Unlike typical arenas, the clashes in the Gorum Arax serve as holy rituals rather than profit-driven public events. Visitors can watch the violence without charge, but they must make a contribution, choosing between donating a suit of armor or a weapon, offering prayers from Gorum's worshippers, or providing a contestant for an upcoming match. Contestants can range from trained beasts to volunteers, though rumors persist about involuntary participants, despite the Gorumite clergy's strong assertions that no such thing has ever happened. Arena Master Jeruke Dalagander arranges the matches and also serves as the local high priest of Gorum here. The Pleasure Salon of Calistria. Absalom's largest temple of Calistria, built in Aslanti style, embraces all aspects of the Calistrian faith beyond lust, incorporating such elements as trickery and vengeance. Often mistaken for a brothel, it serves as a hub for information, advice, and political maneuvering. The temple is protected by wasps, and its priests are said to be able to gauge a visitor's intent by examining the wounds from the wasp's stings. Lady Diriana of House Avenstar, who also manages the aforementioned Silken Court, is the high priestess of the Pleasure Salon. The Seventh Church of Iomade. Constructed on the site of Iomede's legendary defense against sea ghouls, this white marble cathedral trains acolytes and welcomes veteran champions. It is led by Tevere Falsbane. Tevere is a relatively new and young high priest. He achieved his post when the elderly power brokers and senior priests failed to achieve consensus with one of their traditionalist candidates, making Tevere Falsbane the Synod's compromise choice. Falsbane's difficult youth spent as an indentured servant in Malthun endeared him to those who sought a leader who would show sympathy to Absalom's poor and disadvantaged, while his battle prowess and critical role in the city's defense during the Fiendflesh siege mollified factions seeking a martially minded patriarch. So far he has proven effective in his post. Watcher Overlord Ulthun II can frequently be found in discussion with the High Priest Falsbane, and he values his counsel despite his youth. Indeed, Ulthun himself was very young when he first came to power. Adjacent to the Seventh Church of Iomade is an ancient training grounds for paladins, the Tempering Hall, which trains warriors in martial skills and instills the core Iomadean principles of such forms of combat. Led by Knight Lord Evander Malik, it echoes with the sounds of training, prayers, and the preparation of mythic beasts for battle. The Shrine of the Failed. A monument for failed Starstone aspirants, the shrine houses interconnected rooms with alcoves for the deceased. Black-robed caregivers maintain the solemn space, providing dignity to the fallen. Here, the names of fallen aspirants that are believed to have come close to ascension are memorialized forever, such as Gobru, the Fisherwoman, the Muted God or the Unspoken One, Ogo of the 16 Poses, Vilik the Unwatched, and Zimpar of the Dreaming Year. Stoneshield House. Named after Captain Dunnar Stoneshield, the revered district captain, this watch station serves as the headquarters for the Greycloaks. While the facility is modest in appearance, the Greycloaks are in fact among the most well-resourced of the district watch divisions. Despite the spiritual nature of the district, the Greycloaks themselves are mostly agnostics, as they are specially instructed on fairness and efficiency, and expected to remain impartial in judgments by or for any particular deity's clergy. The Temple of the Shining Star. Dominating the skyline with minarets and shining domes, the Temple of the Shining Star is Sarenrae's largest temple in Absalom. Led by Lady Zerashir, it promotes honesty, redemption, and healing. The temple runs free healing pavilions and deploys Dawnstar angels to aid the poor and desperate throughout the city. Lady Zerashir, the High Priestess of the Temple of the Shining Star, is also the scion of Noble House Shamyid. She has kept her role in the city's power dynamics low-key for many years, despite her prominent position in both the nobility and her highest position in the Sarenite clergy. Having held both of these positions now for over 20 years, she has learned that she prefers to trust her subordinates to handle issues before they are escalated to her. This approach allows her to juggle her many duties while reserving much-needed personal time as well. Zerashir sees herself as lying in wait for potential events requiring her intervention. She almost stepped in during the recent schism in Sarenrae's church, and the recent events involving Tar-Baphon, but in both cases other individuals or circumstances resolved those situations, aligning with Zerashir's preference for more measured responses. The Tower of Twin Truths. A monumental shrine to Nethys, the Tower of Twin Truths stands at 250 feet and symbolizes the dual nature of magic. The tower includes a public shrine, caretaker quarters, and an extensive underground library presenting opposing views on magical topics. High Priest Arn Diowin possesses a soft-spoken and patient demeanor. Arn's conviction that dualities are non-existent has garnered followers beyond just devotees of Nethys. Similar to Nethys' embracing the apparent contradictions of destructive and constructive magic, Arn Diowin argues that concepts like light and darkness, good and evil, or youth and age are meaningless in isolation. Unsurprisingly, Arn Diowin also identifies as non-binary. The District Courthouse. The District Courthouse, governed by elderly Abadar clerics, serves as the local seat of justice. Although their rulings are typically fair, the sluggish bureaucratic system within the district often causes delays in dispensing justice. Gerrig's Workshop. This is Gerrig the Inspirer's alchemical laboratory and warehouse, where the renowned Gerrig's liquid courage is produced. Everyone in Absalom knows Gerrig by sight, thanks to the colorful advertising posters pasted to walls throughout the city. Gerrig the Inspirer has shining white teeth and well-curated curl of blonde hair at the center of his forehead. He sometimes jerks his neck to wiggle the curl for dramatic effect. Regular advertisements extolling the virtue of Gerrig's liquid courage adorn the pages of nearly every Absalom newspaper. He does his level best to make sure that hopefuls swig a bottle of Gerrig's liquid courage as their final act before crossing the chasm. Lately, Gerrig has begun to wonder if he should expand his celebrity endorsement program from doomed godlings to gladiators and adventurers, who usually have the advantage of surviving at least a little bit longer. The Coins. A bustling mercantile quarter where Absalom's world-famous market attracts traders and independent merchants. The district is a hub for high-stakes transactions, city-making fortunes, and unscrupulous brokers engaged in speculative bets. The Hall of Commerce. This grand hall presents an opulent design reflecting the latest and most lavish trends. It functions as the official venue for crucial district decisions, including tax rates and local regulations, though major business transactions typically occur off-site. The foreign coin exchange, situated on the hall's first floor's western side, is a vital destination for merchants from diverse Galarian nations trading with Absalom. Additionally, the hall accommodates a branch of the Bank of Abadar, providing a divine guarantee for loans to reputable businesses or individuals. The assertive leader of the Coin Council is Lady Mylena of House Arnson, navigating a tumultuous relationship with her father, Lord Avid. The question of her support for his Primarch aspiration remains uncertain, but her disdain for acting Primarch Winsel Starborn is evident. Lady Mylena is also married to the merchant Gron Humboldt, significantly enhancing the efficiency and profitability of his business, Humboldt's Outfitters. Her financial expertise has led to the expansion of the Coin's general store, doubling its size and establishing 2 smaller satellite locations as well. Mylena's marriage to the strong-willed Humboldt, who refused to take the Arnson family name, has widened the gap with their father, intensifying family tensions. Mylena and Gron also have a daughter, Jovara Humboldt, who has attained the vaunted rank of Enigma at the College of Mysteries. The Bail House. The Bail House is the Token Guard's headquarters in Absalom, who are known for their lenient approach to crime. Lady Kythes Finch, the Guard's captain, has received criticism in her dispensation of justice. Kythes fiercely protects the interests of the noble houses and trade masters, worrying that her guard could lose access to their lucrative bail systems if one of the major trading families were to turn against them. During her off-duty hours, Lady Kythes can usually be found overseeing operations at the Saucy Wench, her tavern situated along the Grand Bazaar's Red Silk route. At the Wench, Kythes is committed to a laid-back atmosphere, casting aside her guard uniform and abandoning any kind of etiquette whatsoever. Kythes turns an even more lenient eye to petty crime during these informal moments. Lady Kythes' current lover is Lord Riodos of House Marilla, founder of the Guild of Spears Mercenary Company, whose numbers are increasingly found now in the coins as a consequence. The Band of the Palm Headquarters. The secret base of the Bloody Barbers, Absalom's largest thieves' guild, disguises itself as the Band of the Palm, a union of various trades. The complex, with hidden chambers and a labyrinthine structure, is defended against invaders. Dr. Bensi School, a 9-foot-tall troll, who had been subjected to experiments by his predecessor, is the current leader of the Bloody Barbers, but he's almost never seen by any but his closest allies. The doctor provides the bloody barbers with alchemical items and potions, while the guild provides him with experimental victims, expensive ingredients, and connections outside the city. The Clockwork Cathedral, a Gothic building housing a premier institution for studying clockwork in Absalom. Despite being called a cathedral, it is not associated with any particular deity. Administered by the mysterious ruling escarpment, the Clockwork Cathedral pioneers innovation in mechanical arts. The facility used to be a temple of Asmodeus, but it was destroyed in a fire in 4637, and shortly repurchased thereafter. The new owner, a gaunt, robed stranger called the Assembler, arrived in Absalom's harbor in a large iron ship that rumor suggests housed no other beings. After purchasing the land, the Assembler magically transported their ship to the site, and over the course of a month transformed the ship into the imposing Clockwork Cathedral. The Assembler was never seen again by anyone outside of the school, though some students complain of being followed by a pale, thin-robed figure within the shadowy corridors of the complex, leading to rumors that the Assembler still controls the Clockwork Cathedral. The Crystal Palace. Established by the young half-elf Melina Dodd, Dodd's Filchers, a guild of child thieves, operates from an abandoned house known as the Crystal Palace in Mudhaven. The orphan children of the Filchers engage in purse-cutting, pickpocketing, and otherwise lifting of small valuables from Absalom citizens to survive. Several months ago, Melina Dodd mysteriously disappeared. Now, 11-year-old halfling twins Hammond and Jada Moore have assumed leadership roles. However, they are facing increasing challenges in sustaining and safeguarding the orphans without Dodd's guidance. The Eternal Shackle, a 20-foot-tall stone arch at the northern end of Misery Row, originally known for a flame that burned until the abolition of slavery 7 years ago. Disciples of Droskar, the Darksmith's clerics, have sought to relight the flame, while followers of Caden Killian have turned it into a makeshift shrine where they drink to honor those slaves who died in captivity before the new laws. Unbeknownst to both groups, the arch's stones are war trophies from the Brazen Arch, the magical gate used by Voradni Voon to invade the city millennia ago, and the Minotaurs of the Hinterland have long sought to reacquire them. The Gallery of Innovation. This Temple of Bry doubles as a workshop attracting inventors and researchers. Tinkerers, engineers, and blacksmiths push the boundaries of mortal knowledge here. While some complain about noises and smells, most in the Coins District appreciate the institution, celebrating its creation of various clockwork wonders. The gallery naturally frequently collaborates with the Clockwork Cathedral, which shares its interests but lacks a specific religious dimension. Flindish Tanwhirl, the current High Priestess of Bry, is a stern and no-nonsense gnome. Despite her diminutive stature, she has cultivated a larger-than-life reputation among her followers. Concealed within whirring and grinding mechanical armor, Flindish hides the fact that she was well into the bleaching before her devotion to Bry, and her fascination with clockworks intervened to halt this fate. Presently, she relies entirely on her faith to stave off the bleaching, immersing herself in the mysteries of gears. This focus has strengthened her imagination and sense of wonder, albeit at the cost of her ability to interact with other people. Delegating day-to-day duties to a devoted cabal of priests, Flindish dedicates her time to the depths of the gallery, leading to weeks passing without any sightings of the increasingly mysterious gnome. The Grand Bazaar. Situated in the heart of the Coins, the Grand Bazaar stands as one of the Inner Sea region's largest open markets, showcasing the economic diversity of the district. This bustling plaza offers an array of goods, from legal to highly illicit, with the infamous Red Silk Route hosting the latter. Notable locations within the market include Drakori's Sensory Emporium, an extravagant stall catering to those seeking vivid experiences, Lost and Found, a seemingly humble shop filled with treasures and curiosities, Material Changes, an exclusive boutique offering magical transformations, and Monger's Mart, an open-air market supplying culinary delights from across Galarian, making it a key destination for chefs from Absalom's high-end establishments. The Grand Dance Hall of Kortos, an opulent theatre renowned for its Vudrani-style performances by top dancers and acrobats overseen by Lord Rajit Punjir. While entertainment thrives on the lower levels, the upper balconies host Absalom's elite. Strictly controlled by Punjir, access to these levels require exorbitant patronage fees, allowing the city's most powerful figures to conduct financial dealings and intrigues that shape trade across the Inner Sea in relative privacy. Invitations to these upper levels are highly coveted, offering rare opportunities for mingling with the high nobility and other influential figures. Humboldt's Outfitters. Humboldt's Outfitters, managed by skilled Gron Humboldt, is a bustling two-story stone structure resembling a fortress. Offering a diverse range of products from tools to clothing and rations, the store is the most successful general goods store in Absalom. Humboldt's commitment to solving every problem through available items, combined with Lady Mylina's business acumen, has led to its expansion with satellite stores and reputation for quality products. The Javelin Gallery. Converted from a second millennium manor house, the Javelin Gallery serves as the headquarters for the Guild of Spears Mercenary Guard Unit. The guild, mainly comprised of retired guardsmen, is well protected, and in addition to paid guard services, they also offer weapons crafted in-house and customized with magical augmentations. Lord Riodos of House Marilla founded and runs the group. Despite his important family name, Riodos wants nothing to do with the rest of his family. He avoids contact with Lord Kaleido and the branch of his family associated with the Guild of Wonders Assassin's School. This would on the surface make him a natural ally to Lady Gloriana, but Riodos hates politics in general and considers his scheming cousin to be a generally annoying presence. The Kennel. Seemingly an ordinary building, the ramshackle structure known as the Kennel is the headquarters for a criminal group called the Family Dogs. Posing as a pet shop and taxidermist, the guild leader Dras has expanded his group's work from confidence schemes to protection rackets. Along these lines, they have also created an urban legend called the Stitch-Lip Man, using taxidermied animals to enforce their scheme. Mother Sphinx. A seemingly tidy commodities trading business, the Mother Sphinx, run by tradesmaster Horner Shan, conceals a subterranean temple. Yet another one of the dark god Norgorber's power centers in the city. Functioning as the high priest of Norgorber in his Grey Master aspect, Horner Shan leads the Smoke Knights, a cult and thieves guild which conducts underworld dealings while maintaining a respectable surface appearance. The Prophet's Academy. Along with the Withrun House of the Wise Quarter, the Prophet's Academy serves as the second major beacon of calistocratic influence in Absalom. Standing out in the northeastern corner of the coins, the Prophet's Academy, founded by Trevlin Crest and Ilrava Drogand, is an exclusive institution educating on both business and the teachings of the Prophet Calistrade. Rhett's Home. Located at the northern edge of Mudhaven, Rhett's Home is an orphanage, founded by half-orc Rhett Tafmar, providing care for destitute orphans in the coins. With a good reputation for appropriate care and finding reliable families for orphans, Rhett, despite being from a wealthy cloth-trading family, remains dedicated to maintaining the orphanage with his family's monthly allowance. The Saucy Wench. Despite having a bit of a disreputable reputation, this tavern in the coins continues to attract a diverse clientele. Owned by token guard Captain Kythes Finch, it is known for straddling the line between danger and safety, and is in fact actively patrolled by the token guard. They just know to turn a blind eye to minor infractions. Rich dandies seeking excitement are often drawn to the wench, making them targets for con artists and pickpockets. The Second Labyrinth. Owned by House Tevnig, the Second Labyrinth is a gambling den built in the Gothic Chelish style, which had catered to Cheliax's loyalists for generations. Enjoying something of a renaissance under Grand Ambassador Gulv Tevnik, it thrives on gambling, with the Voudran game of Druge gaining popularity here. The establishment has an entrance fee, but it hosts fair gaming tables, albeit with expensive amenities. The Taurian Embassy. The Taurian Embassy, home to the Minotaur Prince Noir Spiritskin, stands out in the coins with a well-maintained building that evokes the architectural styles of distant Iblidos. Despite Absalom's long and troubled history with some groups of Minotaurs, the Tauran Embassy has come to be well accepted by the District of the Coin's diverse community, as Noir himself has, as he works to maintain the neighborhood, leveraging his influence with the Grand Council to better the Coins District. The Temple of Lost Coins. Once a dwarven church dedicated to Trude, the Temple of Lost Coins fell into disrepair after a scandal involving the High Priest's gambling debts. Reclaimed by the honorable thieves known as the Forthright gang, led by a mysterious figure known as the Harlequin, decorated the building with circus banners and colorful streamers, turning it into a gaudy display that has only further obscured its original purpose. The Al-Hakam Estate. The stately home of Akir al-Hakam and Emir Thalzar Gatan, along with their 3 adopted daughters, is one of the finest in the district. Akir al-Hakam is a figure discussed in much more detail in my Pathfinder Society faction guide. The Free Union Headquarters. Reflecting stunning craftsmanship, the Union, led by Director Millie Tundle, is an organization that provides aid and services to former slaves. Mudhaven. A desperate slum for the poor, Mudhaven is avoided by the token guard, unless they are planning to move into the neighborhood in force to root out criminals, in which case they tend to approach this neighborhood in larger groups. There are some corners of hope in Mudhaven, though. The Guiding Hand, founded by the Ilverani, or Snow Elf, Turn on the Wind, has served as both a religious mission and soup kitchen in the heart of Mudhaven. Despite its inconspicuous location amidst dilapidated surroundings, the delicate building features clean rooms, crystalline stained glass windows, and a bustling dining hall. Magical wards are used to maintain their good conditions. Turn on the Wind ministers to the city's poor, arranging apprenticeships with local businesses to improve the long-term prospects of those he supports. The Union of Carpenters, Stonemasons, and Woodcutters. The influential guild's sprawling headquarters buzzes with activity and serves as a hub for contracting artisans for special projects. The Union has two leaders, Hans the Northman and Engleton Embray, both of which are described in more detail in the Ivy District section, where they have shops of their own. The Mikhail estate. The stone manor of Lord Navim of House Mikhail looks more like a fortress than a noble's estate. Since the decline of Absalom's slaving enterprise, House Mikhail has fallen on hard times, and its lord now gathers all manner of disreputable characters to his manse to empower his increasingly desperate schemes to recapture a measure of the family's lost glory. Eastgate. A tranquil residential district with iconic landmarks like the postern gate and blue tower. The Greenridge area is known for its druidic activities, centered around the Grand Holt, an ancient fig tree. The Eastgate Hall. The Eastgate Hall is the site of the Eastgate Council's monthly meetings and the seat of district government in Eastgate. The ornate stone building was once the headquarters of the hunting lodge of a defunct adventuring group called the Raiders of Rovagug, known for participating in the overthrowing of Osirian pharaoh Menedis XXVI. The nomarch and first chair of the Eastgate Council is Lord Ayunga of House Akesh. For generations, House Akesh has maintained a proud tradition of contributing leaders to the captain of the Post Guard, the Eastgate District Watch, and Lord Ayunga continued this legacy with honor. In fact, even today he has dual responsibilities, as both nomarch and first chair of the Eastgate Council, but also as Lord Captain of the Post Guard. His proximity to the postern gate ensures close collaboration with the Star Watch as well, where his close friend and ally, Asilia of Gear, has the command. Strong ties with the First Guard are also evident, and Ayunga values the enduring friendship and political alliance with acting Primarch Winsel Starborn as well. Despite the absence of Starborn in recent months from their regular gatherings at Black Hills, a popular Eastgate meadhouse, Ayunga and his best friend Mar Gothfellow keep an open seat, preserving the hope of the acting Primarch's return to their cherished weekly tradition. Antler Lodge. The Antler Lodge, a cherished retreat in Absalom for followers of Erastil, provides respite from the urban hustle. Despite Erastil's rural influence, the lodge, magically insulated from the city noise, offers a haven. High Priestess Lois Zapa, known as Grandmother to her parishioners, oversees the lodge. She worries that some fell influence has begun to haunt the lodge, though, perhaps something brought into the temple by a false worshipper, but is at a loss as to where to begin further investigations. Barrigel's Fur and Feathers. Barrigel's Fur and Feathers, managed by Barrigel Tindertails, specializes in exotic pets. While avoiding endangered species, Barrigel's fascination with novelty sometimes leads to conflict with Eastgate's druids, forcing her to balance her desire for unique creatures with considerations of ethical sourcing. Black Hills. Black Hills, a popular meadhouse owned by Deeg Blackhill, serves as a hub for the Post Guard. Deeg's Tavern hosts off-duty guards, which can occasionally be hired for dangerous off-the-books missions here. Rumors surround Deeg's past, hinting at a scandal that forced him to leave his hometown, and even to those that know him he is cryptically silent about his personal history. The Blue Tower. Once a bastion of the influential Taldan Blue Lords faction, this now serves as a center for communication magic and mail services. Despite its change of ownership over the years, it remains a landmark in Absalom. It houses the Winged Sandals, messengers who promise expedient delivery of missives and who are also dedicated to the goddess Iomade. Despite their reputation for reliability, recent conflicts with the tower's former masters have compromised their security of late. The Broken Bastion. Originally a clock tower, but today housing Moir Gouthfellow's magical vaults. Moir serves as Absalom's fourth spell lord, safeguarding the city's magical secrets and combating threats posed by eldritch items or ideologies. Scarred by a dragon's attack and boasting hellborn features, Gothfellow often wears dark red cloaks to conceal his appearance. Despite his fearsome countenance, he maintains an even temperament, and is well respected among the circle of spell lords. Gothfellow is also known to harbor resentment towards the artist Endric Archerus, whom he blames for the death of his brother Imran, which occurred during the Gallery of Evil affair of 4707. The Concerned Residents Union. Eastgate's Concerned Residents Union, an influential citizens association, shapes local policies despite lacking any official power. Recently preoccupied with pagan cults, the Union, led by President Gelda Delby, has dealt with internal strife as members have lost loved ones to these unidentified groups. She is married to another one of the district's influential figures, Tontartigan Delby, the headmaster of the Endearan School. The Endearan School, a prestigious academy known for cross-cultural education, fostering diplomats and international relations. Founded by the Endearan family, the school balances enrollment between Eastgate's children and wealthy outsiders, charging high tuition for its elite schooling. Tuntardigan Delby, the stoic and studious headmaster of the Eastgate's renowned Endearan school, is a respected figure in Eastgate. Married to Gelda, the president of the Eastgate's Concerned Residents Union, they form a powerful couple. Their son, Rance, involved with the Children of Spring cult, though has taken steps to distance himself from his influential parents. The estate of Yargos Gil. Absalom's most famous military history expert is Yargos Gil, a cantankerous old Andorran scholar who has inexplicably found himself at the center of many of the city's greatest intrigues over the last 2 decades. Yargos Gil's estate showcases statues and histories from the People's Revolt in Andoran. Gil, a scholar and also an active participant in the revolt, shares his vast collection of historical volumes with visitors, charging only a small fee for access. The Evergreen Park. The Evergreen Park is a large, beautiful park centered on an eternal spring in Eastgate, which also serves as a small shrine to Gosrae. Lady Evagale of House Wycombe leads the Gosran cult here, known as the Children of Spring. These days she rarely ventures beyond her sanctuary in Evergreen Park. Here, at the cult's open-air shrine, she hosts rituals that sustain the park's perpetual greenery. With her green hair, Lady Evagale welcomes those more accustomed to the wilderness than city streets. Despite her frequent absence from Low Council, where she holds an at-large seat, her devoted cult ensures her re-election each year, prioritizing her support for the Children of Spring over regular council attendance. To many Eastgaters, however, the Children of Spring are zealots, advocating primitivism, and they have swelled in number, testing the patience of Eastgaters that dwell near the park and have to listen to them proselytize for their cause. Giltown. Nestled behind subsidized housing for the Post Guard and Eastgate's less affluent families lies a community hidden from Absalom's main roads. Dilapidated shacks and mud huts sloping towards the water, Giltown's surface presents a facade that conceals its true heart. Beneath the crumbling structures lies submerged caverns, carved into the bedrock, leading into the Bay of Kortos itself. These caverns serve as the private domain of the Azarketes, or Gilmen, where they conduct rituals, trade, and protect their secrets. Despite the poor maintenance of the surface facade, a steady stream of visitors is drawn by the wonders brought from the sea. These treasures include pearls, corals, rare materials for water magic, and artifacts recovered from shipwrecks and sunken ruins around Absalom. Land dwellers also seek Giltown for underwater guides and information about sea threats, but Azarketi carefully consider commissions to avoid endangering their community or revealing any secret locations. The underwater caverns also host an illicit market for smuggling goods, primarily catering to Eastgate's elite. The unspoken agreement between the illicit market and the local authorities allows for a trade that, as long as it's not strictly illegal or dangerous, tends to go unnoticed. The Grand Halt. The Grand Halt is an ancient fig tree that predates Absalom proper, and it holds religious significance as the spot where Aradin rested after the Isle of Kortos was raised from the seafloor. Now boasting 17 trunks, it stands as a civic treasure, maintained by the Circle of Stones Druid Circle. Pilgrims visit for its divine aura, and all manner of fey creatures also find solace in its untamed beauty. The most powerful such being is the Dryad Queen Iolanth, who has dwelled within the Grand Halt since before the Elves returned to Galarian, and perhaps much longer. Although the powerful Fey never leaves her sacred tree, she is thought to have designs upon the whole of the Starstone Isle, with druids aligned to the Circle of Stones dwelling in the Immenwood, the Kortos Mounts, and other wild places across the island. Her deep-voiced lieutenant, the mighty Korhul, also known as the Horned Man, leads the cult outside the Grand Halt, and he fears no one when acting to protect the tree or the interests of its verdant sovereign. He also leads a protest group that objects to the captivity of animals held in Absalom's various zoos. The Green Ridge. The Green Ridge is a serene enclave in the Eastgate district, featuring lush gardens and small farms. Many residents here worship Gosrae, or favor the Green Faith, prioritizing harmony and valuing relationships over material pursuits. Druids play a crucial role in this community, advising on the integration of wild elements with cultivated plants. Although outsiders started to use the term Ridger as a form of disparagement, the locals have come to wear it with pride, embracing their laid-back lifestyle. Mama Shrog Solutions. Once deemed haunted, the former estate of House Vesneri has been transformed into Mama Shrog's Curiosity Shop. Run by the enigmatic Mama Shrog, a worshipper of Lamashtu, the shop's trade is minor witchcraft, offering various solutions to visitors' problems. Despite suspicions that she may be doing illegal work, and various attempts to shut it down, Mama Shrog has managed to avoid any major legal troubles. The shop also serves as a small shrine to Lamashtu and Absalom, the only such one of its kind. The Postern Gate. The eastern postern gate, Absalom's smallest gate, is kept locked, and primarily used for goods transport to Starwatch Keep. During the Siege of the Prophets, it withstood enemy forces, marked by a stone inscription declaring "and no further." Serving as the Post Guard's headquarters, it has always symbolized vigilance against external threats. The Talavant School. The Talavant School, also known as the Fortress, focuses on moral arguments, civics, and comparative government, attracting intellectuals and students of philosophy. Situated within a historic warkeep, it offers sweeping views of the city. Some notable alumni have shaped history, making it a sought-after institution. Madame Vordris, the elven headmistress of the Talavant School, is known for her extravagance, stern lectures, and insightful understanding of political truths. Known to very few, however, is that Madame Vordris is a secret devotee of Cheliax and an agent of House Thrune, who made the ultimate sacrifice once. Formerly human, she accepted a sacrificial death and reincarnation, and returned to life as an elf. This transformation served as a powerful disguise, as few would suspect an elf to follow Asmodeus, and even fewer would imagine an elf being a Thrune agent. Previously named Korsava Thrune, a third cousin to Cheliax's queen, Madame Vordris has severed all ties to her inheritance for her role in Absalom. While maintaining her extravagant lifestyle, she secretly gathers payments to support House Thrune and provides them with valuable information about Absalom's politics and social climate. The Turning Leaf. This prestigious restaurant in Eastgate specializes in fresh seasonal dishes. Known for hosting guest chefs from various lands, it has become a social status symbol. The current guest chef, Kurgatosh, has found ways of making traditional hobgoblin and other goblinoid foods palatable to human tastes by developing some interesting fusion cuisines. The owner and proprietor of the Turning Leaf is a Nexian Goran named Kadeska. Although Kadeska lacks a typical sense of humor, a subtle wit permeates the Turning Leaf's decor and theme. A whimsical sign above the entrance humorously declares, "If you're enjoying your meal, hopefully you won't eat me." This, of course, being a reference to the fact that the Goran people were an accidental creation, and that their ancestry was originally created and cultivated as a source of food in Nex. The Watchtower. Absalom's tallest defensive tower. This is the headquarters of the Eagle Garrison. It's the duty of the soldiers of the Eagle Garrison to survey Absalom's hinterlands to avert potential threats from the unsettled wilds of Greater Kortos. The Watchtower is rumored to be connected to a wide-spanning underground dungeon. The soldiers of the Eagle Garrison tend to deny any such place exists. Captain Mercen Kinsgate commands the garrison here. At just over 6.5 feet in height, she is a towering woman that commands attention instantly, an impression that only deepens when she speaks. Her manner of articulation is precise and carries an intonation that brooks no nonsense, all features that help to ensure the Eagle Garrison's loyalty to their beloved commander. Watercleft. This broad open garden lies between the cliff face upon which the Petal District sits. The area is named for a spout of pure, clear water that bursts from the cliffside and fountains downward into an aqueduct that captures and channels it into a carefully landscaped stream. Anyone can freely carry water from the stream, which draws a sizable daily crowd and makes the Watercleft a hub of social activity in the neighborhood. Wondervale. Decades ago, in the aftermath of Aradin's death, Absalom's intellectuals, inventors, and merchants organized the Festival of Wonders to showcase innovative creations, fostering hope for a brighter future. Held in the sparsely populated districts of Eastgate and Greenridge, the festival featured mesmerizing structures from around the world, attracting crowds and solidifying the city's vitality. While most structures were dismantled post-festival, part of the fairgrounds, known as Wondervale, were retained. Today, Wondervale is a captivating blend of architectural wonders and remnants of past visions of the future. Visitors, including young lovers, inventors, and poets, find inspiration in its unique grounds. Certainly, some of the abandoned buildings continue to astound, particularly the floating towers meant to evoke the wonder of similar airborne structures found to the south. Today, these towers have become the home of immense flocks of bats that swarm out at dusk, resulting in the colorful name the Vampire Towers among the locals. The District Courthouse. In Eastgate, the District Courthouse is known for its judges' reputation for compassion, though many residents wish the courthouse would be tougher on crime. Over the past decade, cunning lawyers, led by influential advocate Samuel Malagent of the Court of Black Paper, have successfully transferred cases of notorious and wealthy villains to the Eastgate Bailey, knowing they are more likely to get a favorable ruling in this district. The House of Guile. Managed by internationally renowned artisan Parson Guile and his merchant wife Helenda, the House of Guile is a famous woodworking gallery. The building's facade showcases over 30 varieties of wood, sourced from all over the Kortos interior, some of which have been extinct for centuries, making it a haven for woodworking enthusiasts and a testament to craftsmanship. Mercerine Manor. Mercerine Manor, Eastgate's largest estate, is an imposing structure of fitted stone and brick. With its wide covered courtyards, winding paths, and white marble colonnades, it serves as the residence of retired Pathfinder venture captain Lord Hayman Huff. The manor has become a haven for adventurers, who are treated to fine dinners in exchange for sharing tales of their exploits, which stir nostalgic memories of bygone days for the host. The Puddles District. The city's poorest district sank deeper during the recent earthquake, resulting in whole sections of the district having damaged buildings and partially submerged streets. Criminal activity thrives in the semi-flooded tunnel network known as the Siphons, which is probably the roughest area in all of Absalom. The Stilt House. The Stilt House stands as a unique structure in the waterlogged Puddles district, elevating above high tide on stilts and serving as the headquarters for the Salvagers Guild and also currently the Muckruckers. The Muckruckers, originally formed to address the aftermath of the earthquake, evolved into the new district council, but rather than address the district's many problems, the group has effectively become a state-sanctioned crime family, prioritizing profits over law enforcement. Hagen Topkick, the district's nomarch, has been unable to address all these challenges and struggles to maintain order as the district deteriorates. With Lord Gear's absence, Hagen faces diminished confidence from the Grand Council, prompting dissatisfied activists seeking his removal and potentially disrupting the Puddles' criminal status quo. Hagen's declining authority may lead to a power shift, but he is a canny politician and he may still have a few tricks up his sleeves. The Catwalk Corridors. Young, dexterous residents in the Puddles navigate flooded streets using rooftop bridges and walkways. The rooftop runners carry messages and parcels, with the fastest, like a young boy named Virgil, who is personally employed by Hagen Topkick, having even turned running the catwalk corridors into a competitive sport of sorts. Competing factions of corridor runners have led to rooftop scuffles, which has added to the chaotic atmosphere of the district. A Sepier's Astounded Abyss. Like the Absalom version of Ripley's Believe It or Not, the Fishhead Queen's Carnival brings the bizarre wonders of both the world and the outer planes to the Puddles, drawing curious spectators with scandalous performances by monsters and mutated creatures. The Carnival, the largest such establishment in Absalom, is generously supported by the Fishhead Queen, a cursed mermaid, and offers a unique watch-at-your-own-risk experience. The Bark Bazaar. This is a floating cluster of shops in the Puddles, offering a range of goods of dubious provenance. Initially struggling, it has since found success selling seafood and produce at cheap prices to the district's struggling populace. To expand its market, it has become involved with a group of scoundrels called the Sewer Rats to smuggle in goods that can't be fished for locally, while avoiding city taxes that would inflate costs beyond the meager means of the Puddles district residents. The Brine. The Brine is an active prison in the Puddles, substantially smaller than the Tomb of the Living, and established much later after some minor reformations to the founding laws allowed for such establishments. It also serves as a front for the Salt Cartel. Lady Setchia of House Tavaneg manages the prison, which for a long time would disappear prisoners back to Cheliax, where they would wind up as slaves. Today, prisoners here continue to face appalling conditions. With Hagen Topkick's priorities being elsewhere and oversight being a district matter, the prisoners currently have no respite in sight. The Consulate of the Platinum Band. The Consulate of the Platinum Band is the Inner Sea's largest temple dedicated to Apsu, the god of good dragons. Thankfully located in a less submerged portion of the district, the devout followers of the dragon god provide aid and compassion to the district's struggling residents. Identified by gold dragon brooches, they engage in charitable activities across the district, generally seeking to avoid entanglement with the various unsavory criminal groups that dominate so much of it. The High Priest Khonsu Ro is tight-lipped about his past in Minkai. He has openly acknowledged to adopting a new identity upon arriving in Absalom, but steers conversations towards his devotion to Apsu when he can. In addition to his charitable work, the Consulate of the Platinum Band is also a safe place for those humans and other humanoids with draconic heritage, such as half-dragons and dragon-blooded sorcerers, who seek to better understand their powers and what they mean. The Goblin King's Court. The Goblin King's Court contains the largest population of goblins in Absalom. As the goblins' diminutive statures put them at disadvantage against the high water levels, the occupants here have built homes for themselves well above ground. Rickety structures made to vaguely resemble a pair of castle towers mark the location of Goblin King Zusgut's headquarters along the skyline. The rest of the enclave is well integrated into the canopy of rooftops that make up the skyways of the district. King Zusgut is the final authority on all decisions for his little kingdom, but his court is filled with an array of goblin advisors from all across Golarion. The Goblin King's Court even sells a local delicacy of the goblins' creation, brine water pickles, a concoction of second-hand, partially spoiled vegetables introduced to a mixture of vinegar and briny water. In addition to Zusgut's castle, the court includes an infamous playhouse, in which the wider goblin community hosts witty but cheap and loud entertainment that draws in young citizens who don't mind climbing the rafters to watch the shows. The Healing Raft.
The House of Healing, a temple of Sarenrae in the Ivy District, commutes into the Puddles every other day to bring a communal soup pot and novice clerks to bring basic healing services. The sturdy raft has only enough room for the clerics in the soup pot, and Puddles residents must stand in the water to receive food, healing, or blessings. Although the priests working the raft rotate, a common and welcome face aboard the raft is that of Father Eligir Kelm. Eligir Kelm is a devout cleric of Sarenrae from Taldor, who like many faced a conflicted past when Sarenrae's worship was marginalized by the Taldan government. With Taldor's evolving views, Eligir now better embraces both his faith and nationality. He gives sermons at Lion Square, works with the healing raft in the Puddles, and does other good works around the city. His work in the Puddles has recently added a new layer of secrecy to his life, when he discovered an unusual cocoon-like object, a strange humanoid shape barely visible through its leathery shell, that floated in with the tide. Some strange feeling has compelled him to hide the cocoon away in his home, and though he fears it, he is powerless to tell anyone about it. The Little Inner Sea. The Little Inner Sea is the largest saltwater lake in the Puddles, so it has naturally become a focal point for salvage operations managed by Hagen Topkick, the Muckruckers, and other such groups. Despite hazards and dangers, salvagers and citizens gather here to search for valuables amid the wreckage, with Hagen being the greatest profiteer from among these expeditions. Purewater Home. This is an orphanage in the Puddles run by the Aasimar named Hope, which provides a relatively safe and dry haven for children. A former orphan and street thief herself, Hope is dedicated to preventing abandoned youth from entering into lives of crime. The orphanage also secretly serves as a cell for the firebrands, and I discuss Hope and other Absalom firebrands in more detail in my Firebrands Faction Guide. Razor Hall. Razor Hall used to be the district courthouse, but the Skinsaw cult, the most dangerous of the Norgorberite factions in Absalom, have transformed the Razor Hall into a malevolent temple, where they conduct mock trials and deadly executions. The cult's activities have become a serious concern, but the Muckruckers have been hesitant to intervene in case deeper investigation into their district also exposes their own criminal activities. The Siphons. The Siphons, a labyrinth of underground tunnels in the Puddles, serves as a network for criminals and thieves' guilds. The sewer rats control most of the tunnels here, using coded symbols for navigation through the warrens. The dark flooded corridors have also become a home for both desperate unhoused peoples and for amphibious monsters as well. The Soggy Piper. The Soggy Piper Tavern provides a discreet and anonymous haven for runaways, crooks, and revolutionaries. Known for its solid, if unimpressive, meals and sturdy drinks, the tavern attracts visitors seeking refuge without drawing attention. Yelmo, the despondent owner of the Soggy Piper Tavern in the Puddles, is a long-standing figure in the district, having run the dive bar for almost 40 years. Despite his bar's reputation as a gathering spot for various unsavory characters, Yelmo has a particular disdain for the treacherous Warhounders gang, especially their leader Nessian. Yelmo's resentment stems from a past incident where the gang kidnapped and nearly killed the scholar Yargos Gil, discussed in my Eastgate section. Despite his growing age, Yelmo remains steadfast in his grudge, openly banning members of the Warhounders from entering his establishment. Yargos' mission. Yargos' mission, established by Yargos Gil, whose residence and museum can be found in the Eastgate district, is his outreach mission in the Puddles. The former Andoran revolutionary and noted historian offers food, shelter, and medications to the neediest Puddles residents. Although Yargos put some of his own coin to get the mission started, struggling with overwhelming demand, the mission has come to rely heavily on donations. Unfortunately, it has also become a target for local groups hoping to exploit its resources. The Chapel of Shadow. The Chapel of Shadow was once a temple of Nethys, but since the flooding it was abandoned, and later reclaimed by other forces. Locals believe the building is haunted, but in fact it has been claimed by agents of the Onyx Alliance, who have constructed an open shadow rift here from which they transition between Shadow Absalom and the material plane. The Church of the Muted God. Despite the death of the mysterious entity inspiring it, the Church of the Muted God persists as a strange cult devoted to a deceased patron deity. Once benevolent, like many competing criminal factions in the city, it has transformed into a silent and secretive group exploiting the district's least fortunate. The Metro Cathedral. The congregation of this old and much-honored temple of Abadar fled following the earthquake and flooding, which did significant damage to the church's foundations and toppled one of its towers, in a tragedy that claimed 7 lives. Despite initial abandonment, however, the faithful have returned and begun to repair it. Although it doesn't offer regular service, the church still sees use each Oath Day, when the clergy of Abadar play a ritual tune upon its immense pipe organ that, because of its partially crumbled walls, can be heard through much of the district. The Docks. Serving as the primary entry point to the Isle of Kortos, the docks thrive on the trade brought by visitors from afar. Despite its cosmopolitan nature and the promise of entertainment along the boardwalk, tensions among sailors, international visitors, and local criminals often create a dynamic and sometimes perilous environment. Crestwatch. Serving as the administrative hub for the Docks District, this features both the Harbour Guard Barracks on the east side and the Dock Council's chambers on the west side. Originally designed to enhance coordination between safety and business, tensions have slowly arisen as the Harbour Guard's efforts to combat crime had the effect of actually starting to bring criminal elements in proximity to visiting dignitaries. Captain Elmoira, the Tackle Queen Taggart, a halfling and the head of the Harbour Guard, earned her nickname through successful undercover operations, which led to numerous arrests. Despite her efficient leadership, she has faced criticism because issues of gang violence and crime continue to be endemic in the docks. Meanwhile, the first chair of the Dock Council and nomarch of the Docks District is Lord Archick of House Durians. Nomarch Archick is also the owner of the Devil's Own shipyard, and the Durians family is an old Chelish noble house with deep blood ties back to the great houses of old Cheliax. Known for employing unsavory characters and wielding his considerable influence to his own advantage, suspicions have continued to linger around his possible involvement with Goodman Hugin's demise. Over the course of 50 years, tensions between House Durians, led by Archick, and House Candron have continued to escalate. It hasn't helped that Nomarch Archick has also focused on crushing Lady Alladane and her populist movement in the political sphere as well. Crestwatch is located close to the district courthouse, the local seat of justice, administered by a chaotic and unpredictable judicial body. The Seafoam Conclave. Beneath the bustling docks lies a hidden community known as the Seafoam Conclave. Living in sea caves carved into Absalom's bedrock, they lead insular lives, relying on fishing and menial jobs. Jossie Slimfin, an Azarketi junk merchant, has long served as a liaison between the underdocks and the surface. Merfolk residents and Cecilia, exiles from Zidao, also contribute to the underwater community here. The Beast. This 5-story tower, constructed in 4208, houses the mechanisms of the world's largest crane. Operated by the prestigious chief engineer Amazia Meneha, it can lift nearly 60 tons, up to 55 feet. The Beast maneuvers by rotating the entire building, extending loads up to 25 feet out. Amazia understands the importance of her role in keeping the Beast functional, and has so far avoided letting the prestige of her title get in the way of fulfilling that role. It's not uncommon to see her clambering around on the crane's vertiginous heights at any hour of the day or night as she tracks down the source of the latest unknown creaking. Besmara's Boardwalk, located at the eastern end of the docks, is a vibrant area filled with carnival games, shops, and food stalls. Notable among them is the Impalement Arts run by Quar and Galamir, leaders of the Bladed Bastards. I discuss these two in more detail in my Firebrand's faction guide. The boardwalk attracts plenty of tourists, and naturally serves as a hub for various activities and entertainment. The Black Whale Prison. This prison, consisting of 6 galleons lashed together on a rocky reef, is situated on the west side of the bay under Fort Tempest, and it holds political prisoners and individuals deemed too dangerous to be held on the mainland. Warden Gearden of Gix oversees the prison. A hard man with hard features, Lord Gearden has fattened considerably in the years since he took control of the Black Whale. He remains a formidable fighter who can kill a man with his bare hands, though. Gearden gains no enjoyment from harming others, but neither does he flinch from doing so when he sees it as his duty. Gearden believes in lashes for minor infractions of prison policy, and dunking in the local seas while tied to an anchor for serious troublemakers. The warden also serves the city's 4th Lord of Laws in the Circle of Laws, originally a nepotistic assignment, but one that he has retained since Winsel Starborn became Primarch. The Broadfoot Marshals. Led by dwarven inventor Bagara Broadfoot, this is a private firefighting company in the docks. Using mechanized carts with water basins, they combat fires with all the ingenuity one has come to expect from the dwarf community that has settled in Absalom. Bagara's proactive measures include aqueducts and water towers. Despite occasional mishaps with prematurely melting wax plugs, the Broadfoot Marshals have become a reliable firefighting force, often servicing the city beyond the confines of the Docks District. Concurrent Currency. Concurrent Currency is a money-changing shop, exchanging currency and issuing official scrip, run by the gnome Direlli Ganthamshire, assisted by his halfling husband Bagwell Tompkin. Direlli rarely leaves his shop, and adores his interactions with all the customers who stop by, always eager to hear their stories, and especially to see what odd coins they have to offer him. Direlli has also taken on the halfling custom of not wearing shoes, claiming he doesn't wish his husband to feel naked. He also wears a bright gold band on the middle toe of his left foot, which clicks distinctively whenever he takes a step. His best customer is Lord Ovid Blackrose, Absalom's foremost catacomb coin collector, and the source of a significant, perhaps dangerous, percentage of the shop's income. The Devil's Own Shipyard. Run by District Nomarch Archik of House Durians, this shipyard specializes in war galleys. The shipyard is also for a long time doubled as the hideout for the Gailu Sisters Gang, a criminal gang with ties to Cheliax. Among their chief agents is Zelva, a thin-lipped assassin. She is an Absalom-born Chelish person, and values her home city a great deal, in fact only having visited Cheliax itself a few times in her 25 years. The Grog Pit. This famous flophouse near the Beast is renowned for its open-topped barrel of grog. Owned by Valcent Minstros, it attracts dock workers with cheap booze and a no-ejection policy. Just because Valcent tolerates fistfights and worse in the grog pit, one shouldn't assume that there are never repercussions for troublemaking. Valcent may not throw you out for starting a fight, but he could well put you in a pine box for annoying him. Time and time again, he's dodged the law when the kin of those he's been forced to kill have attempted to have him thrown in jail. For the guards know that by keeping potential arsonists or thugs or other violent criminals distracted in the grog pit, Minstros helps keep order in the docks. The Pickled Imp. A curio shop owned by former Zarni faction leader Garl Karela, described in more detail in my Pathfinder Society video, which buys and sells eclectic goods from across Golarion. Captain Elmoira Taggart of the Harbour Guard is known to be a frequent customer here. Naturally, since Garl has gone into hiding, he has not been seen at the store for some time, but individuals friendly with his interests have continued to operate it in his absence. Lifter's Mooring. Formed after a workplace accident at Ogrekin Hall, the Union, led by Goyton Greerton, has significantly reduced accidents and mistreatments. Guyton's good works in the Docks District have also earned him a seat on the local district council, where he represents workers' interests. The Mithril Chef. A popular restaurant led by Claudette Butterfoot secretly serves the headquarters for the Firebrands faction as well. I discuss Claudette and this establishment in more detail in my Firebrands faction guide. Ogrekin Hall. Owned by Tarnix Dexarian, this hall houses a portage and hauling business. Large workers, some of which are humanoids with giant heritage, and some rare few of which are actual ogres kept on a tight leash by Tarnix, handle the heavy lifting. For his part, Tarnix is an ambitious business owner in the docks, owning both Ogrekin Hall and the Red Drake Warehouse, but his aspirations extend further. He aims to build a mercantile empire in Absalom's core, and his activities thus far have earned him the unofficial title, the Second Harbour Master. Tight control over wages and selective bonuses to those who serve his interests have characterized his management style. Currently eyeing 3 additional businesses in the docks, the Broadfoot Marshal Station House, the Concurrent Currency, and the Devil's Own Shipyard, Tarnix seeks to enhance his influence over the neighborhood. These expansions would grant him control over defenses against fire, currency exchange, ship construction, and even a local gang, the Gailu Sisters. To fund this venture, Tarnix is pursuing a loan from the Bank of Absalom, aiming for favorable terms. The Red Drake Warehouse. Offering storage facilities at competitive prices, these are owned and operated, as just mentioned, by powerful Dock District business owner Tarnix Dexarian. Though his operation boasts plenty of storage and decent prices, traders here face the risk of automatic default if even a single payment is delayed or missing. Rumors circulate about the warehouse being used to securely store and hide illegal contraband as well, but Tarnix has so far managed to keep himself out of any legal trouble. The Sea King's Shipyard. A small but prestigious shipbuilding operation producing high-quality vessels. Managed by Lady Aladane of House Kandran, the shipyard maintains detailed records of each ship's history and crew. The establishment's good reputation has been slightly marred of late by the mystery surrounding the Ambrosia, a ship that returned to the shipyard on its own, with its entire crew disappeared. Temple Row. Hosting a bevy of maritime-associated temples and shrines, such as those dedicated to Gosre, Besmara, and Hei Feng. A natural tide pool here serves as a shrine to Gosre, while the Thirsty Giant Tavern functions as a temple to Besmara. Tengu here have also built a temple to Hei Feng on the top floor of a warehouse. Jory Slimfin, the junk trader and liaison for the district's underwater residents, also doubles as a priest of Besmara and can frequently be found offering prayers to sailors and privateers at the Thirsty Giant. Bardy's Barges, a halfling-run shipyard allied with the Pilots' Union specializing in flat-bottomed watercraft. Darabelle Fairwind, the guild mistress of Absalom's Pilot Union, can frequently be found here, as Barty's is a loyal friend to the Union. She transitioned her problem-solving and leadership skills from managing the guild to city politics, after gaining a low council appointment a few years ago, and with some even going so far as suggesting she could have been a suitable harbour master as well. Her own ship, the Spray Scorpion, stands out as the fastest vessel in the Pilots' Union. Margrel's Masts. Margrel's Masts is another popular shipyard in the docks, this one known for its cutters and caravels. Malin and Zen ships. Shipbuilders from Tianxia focusing on Zhongs and other vessels from the Dragon Empires, always in fashion in Absalom, particularly among the rich. Mei Lin and Zhen also specialize in repairing such ships when they arrive after long ocean voyages. The Pride of Azir, a further busy shipyard focused on the construction of Rahadumi-style does and catering to visitors from the Atheist Kingdom. Kortos Watercrafts, small elite shipbuilders using the finest inland woods and allied with the Kortos Consortium, the wealthiest trade consortium local to Absalom and the Starstone Isles. Princely Shipyards, a final medium-sized shipyard known for barks and schooners owned and operated by the Taldan Madinani family. Finally, the Precipice Quarter. Formerly Beldrin's Bluff, the Precipice Quarter also suffered devastation in the recent earthquake, leaving damaged buildings and abandoned ruins. Though this area didn't flood in the same way, some of these sites are now afflicted by the undead and other strange magics. Recent efforts to rebuild have commenced in this once beautiful district. The second edition Agents of Edgewatch adventure path starts in this district, featuring the establishment of a new district guard unit called the Edgewatch, designed to help keep the district safe. To avoid any second edition adventure spoilers, we'll keep this content to before those events happen. But if your story is taking place after this adventure occurred, then it's safe to assume that the Edgewatch organization remains active in the region and continues to clear dangerous sites as Absalom works towards the ongoing reparation of the Precipice Quarter. Vigil's Hope. Established in a former guard armory and barracks, Vigil's Hope serves as the base for the exiled Watcher Lord Ulthun II and his retinue, comprised mainly of surviving Knights of Lastwall. The stronghold is fortified with archers' platforms, scavenged support beam palisades, and other defensive measures. The presence of an open-air shrine to Iomedae underscores the martial focus of the camp. While the knights have primarily claimed and fortified their position, Vigil's Hope symbolizes a defiant challenge to the malign forces in the Precipice Quarter. The residents of the damaged quarter cautiously hope that the presence of Vigil's Hope might eventually improve their situation. For the cult of Urgathoa, the undead, and other malevolent forces in the Precipice Quarter, the presence of the knights poses an existential threat. Launching numerous fierce attacks before Vigil's Hope was fully fortified, these adversaries have been repelled so far by the skilled Knights of Lastwall, albeit with some losses. Further pacifying the Precipice Quarter has proven to be a challenging task. Ulthun II was the last Watcher Overlord of the destroyed nation of Lastwall, and the remains of his shattered retinue fled from the loss of Lastwall, the nation built to stand against the Whispering Tyrant, into the open arms of Absalom. The defeated paladins came to the city with a warning of the threat looming over all of Avestan. Many welcomed them as heroes for standing against the Whispering Tyrant, regardless of their loss, requesting tales of what transpired and his plans for the future. After asking Winsel Starborn which district in the city would best benefit from their presence, the two decided that the haunted Precipice Quarter should be the home to Lastwall's embassy. Ulthun chose to have the Knights of Lastwall serve as a beacon in the quarter, and ordering the construction of Vigil's Hope in the most dangerous part to continue the work of cleansing the district. The embassy is also home to new recruits, numerous adventurers, fortune seekers, and various clerics and paladins of Iomedae. Patrols of his knights are frequently encountered in the Precipice Quarter, stepping in at the last minute to save those in need. Ulthun also hires adventurers to explore abandoned parts of the quarter to gather intelligence before sending in armed forces to retake them. It's slow going, but each block recovered adds to his influence in the city and his rising popularity. As the original Beldrin's Bluff District Council fell apart after the quake, Ulthun II effectively also serves as District No-Mark for the Precipice District. This is a development that a small few in the Precipice District find objectionable, viewing Ulthun and the Knights of Lastwall as a kind of occupying military force. For his part, Ulthun always considered this post temporary, an opportunity to maintain the skill of the knights while they plan for their next move against the tyrant. The Arboretum Arcanus. The once celebrated Arboretum Arcanus, a magical greenhouse, suffered a tragic fate during the quake. The crystal dome cracked, causing a perversion in its magic. Mutated plants and creatures now inhabit the poisoned space, with vines spreading the corruption. The Goran druid Kaya, once a benevolent being, was deeply affected by the evil, and now rules the ruin with a blackened heart. Recent efforts, led by Dryad Queen Iolanth, have aimed to reclaim the Arboretum with the help of the Knights of Lastwall. Barterfell. As survivors abandon Beldrin's Bluff, Barterfell emerged in the Precipice Quarter as a squalid neighborhood subsisting on a barter economy. Its impoverished residents, resentful of those who escaped, struggled with violence, disease, and lack of infrastructure. A small, wealthy calistocrat enclave not far from Barterfell further adds to their misery, the stark differences in their situations sparking envy and hatred. Beldrin's Towers. Legend tells of the 3 towers built by the Archmage Beldrin. 2 fell into the sea during the earthquake, while the Tower of the Broken Shield remained standing in the Precipice Quarter. The Tower of the Candelabra hides submerged, but can occasionally be heard emitting eerie sounds, and the Tower of the Horn, fallen into shallower waters, can be seen half submerged during low tides. Adventurers are drawn to all 3 towers, hoping for treasures, but often finding misfortune. The Bone Glutton Pit. Used as an emergency dumping ground for corpses and rubble after the earthquake, Bone Glutton Pit quickly became infested with ghouls. An Urgathoan cult worships in this nightmarish domain, offering corpses and captives to the ghouls. The pit serves as an unholy shrine, and cultists descend into its depths to worship among the grisly structures built by the undead. The Dark Gate. A fissure to the Darklands opened during the earthquake, and this has also unleashed subterranean monsters into the frightened denizens of the district. The Nailfists gang, led by the ex-gladiator Turgul, now controls the Dark Gate. The term gang here might be somewhat misleading, as Turgul has transformed his gang into a formidable force, defending against threats from the Darklands and challenges from within the Precipice Quarter. The Drown Yard. Putrid sewer water, tainted by a hidden necropolis, cursed the students here, turning them into ghastly undead beings. Lady Miranda Daslane has funded the reclamation effort, with aims to rescue any survivors, lay to rest the undead, and create a memorial garden. The Grisly Fair and the Stinger's Scar. 2 of the city's public parks have become terrible blights in the Precipice District. The Grisly Fair was originally called the Wonder Fair, an amusement park now turned into a haunted carnival when the malevolent spirits of the Precipice Quarter claimed it. The Stinger's Scar was originally called the Celestial Pleasure Ground, but it is now a nightmarish park infested with stinging vermin, giant insects, and deadly carnivorous swarms. The Scorpion Prince, once a boogeyman in children's stories, supposedly roams the venomous ruin. Both the Grisly Fair and the Stinger's Scar pose significant hurdles to the city's reclamation efforts. Gulgamoth. A damaged golem built by the former Nomarch and wizard Beldrin rests near the center of an ancient square. Pathfinder agents activated it during the Fiendflesh siege, but it was badly damaged in the battle. Its ancient mechanisms have proved difficult to decipher and expensive to repair. The Grand Council has designated reconstruction of the square and rehabilitation of Gulgamoth itself a centerpiece of local reclamation efforts in advance of the upcoming Radiant Festival. Morticant. Among its myriad woes, the Precipice Quarter has also been spawning Mortics since the earthquake devastated the district. Mortics are living creatures tainted by the void, creatures that are partially alive and partially undead. This phenomena has also attracted Urgathoan cultists, seeking transformation into these creatures, seeing such a change as a blessing from the goddess of undeath. Morticant is a community of Mortics, and they face prejudice and hostility from the rest of the population. While some Mortics are Urgathoans who sought out this condition, very many are in fact just innocent victims of the malignant magic that permeates the district. The Rope Cliffs. Smugglers have seized the abandoned buildings overlooking these cliffs, creating the Rope Cliffs, where lack of district guards allows smugglers to haul cargo into the city without taxation or interference. The treacherous seas and hazards like the Tower of the Horn have complicated operations, but where there is a little extra profit to be made, there are those who will brave the risk. Many layers here are rigged to collapse in order to protect the smugglers here in case the city starts to catch up with their operation. The Spiral Shrine. Pharasma's temple, the Spiral Shrine, was rebuilt after the earthquake, and it has become a source of divine magic in the blighted district. Lady Miranda Daslane has funded this reconstruction as well, and the shrine now serves as a memorial for the district's dead, as well as a bastion for defense against undeath. Travost Klim, a tall, gaunt, and silent man, is the high priest of Pharasma that presides over the Spiral Shrine. Following his own resurrection in his youth, a swift departure from his adventurous life, and a conversion from Abadar's worship to Pharasma's, Klim rapidly ascended the church's ranks, and is today one of the city's most influential clerics. He seems to be mute, and he casts all his spells without verbal components. Equipped with a slate and chalk, Klim communicates through writing when necessary. During sermons or extended speeches, he opts for a proxy, always standing silently to the left, head bowed in prayer. The Racked Rock. A stone, remnant of a defeated rackworm, known as the Racked Rock, lies in a ruined block, drawing in sleepwalkers by way of eerie dreams. The partial collapse of the rackworm's lower jaw has also revealed an aperture leading into a complex below. The complex's few explorers have rarely returned, with survivors often succumbing to madness and ruin. Cultists of Rovagug also thrive in the surrounding ruins. The District Courthouse. Following the unjust execution of a man named Jarbin Mord, the district courthouse now lies in ruins and has become haunted by Mord's vengeful ghost. Locked and abandoned, the 4-story building stands now as yet one of the many district's dangerous haunted sites. The Rat Taker's Palace. Once the Sanitation Commissioner's office, the Rat Taker's Palace is an elaborate structure abandoned after the earthquake. The Commission has attempted to reclaim the building, but have struggled to eradicate the mysterious hauntings within the Baroque place.